Welcome back to the European side of the Call of Duty World League. I'm Alex Machine Richardson, joined by Philip Momo Whitfield. Philip or Phil?
Phil's cool.
Yeah,
Phil
Philip.
with one L though.
I feel like I'm like your mum telling you off if I'm Philip. Philip Whitfield.
That's what I get. That was quite scary.
Okay, so while I'm telling him off, we need to talk about Game 2. TCM up against Splice. If you did just tune in, you missed a bit of a battering. Giants just got decimated by the boys of Infuse, and that's a good sign of things to come for the UK side. Stuff to work on for the Spaniards, though. Close game in at Search and Destroy. That's about all to write home about for them. But Game 2, TCM Splice, would you say it's a little bit more difficult to kind of separate the two?
Yeah, I mean, they've got roster changes since, obviously, we've last seen them. Definitely a closer match, for sure. But again, you've got veterans on either side. We're going to see a lot of kind of people who know each other, they've teamed together previously. But it's the UK up against the UK. I'm sure there might be some Welsh or Scottish kind of thrown in there in between. I'm not too sure. However, the Brits, if you like.
There you go.
The Battle of the Brits. That'll do.
That works. I like that a lot. But you're talking about roster swaps, and the main one I want to focus on initially was that on the TCM side of things. Of course, if you're wondering who on earth this TCM roster is, they may have appeared out of nowhere. That is, of course, because NGZB, as they qualified online, did then get picked up by TCM. So that shows, you know, the power of getting into that World League. You get that kind of organization behind you.
And these came from nowhere. These weren't in an organization. They weren't anything special. People hadn't even heard of these. And the point that I'm trying to make, really, is it could be anyone. It could be you guys sat at home playing it in a league like this. As long as you've got the right four, you know, you can progress through, you know, online leagues, things like this, and find yourself in TCM. And speaking to the guys, they're like, I can't believe it. I'm sat in TCM.
Right?
Yeah.
They're playing for TCM. Not only that, they're now about to go up against Splice. To all of you guys at home, you're going to be the ones watching them as they attempt to best the boys at Splice, a team that we'll be talking about a little later. First, though, Shane. An individual we kept on banging on about. Do you remember when he was over in the qualifiers and he was playing under Orbit? That was the team that we saw him there. And it was kind of, the story there was, oh, he's got these 3 young players, these up-and-coming players under his wing. Have we literally just got 3 new young players and it's the same story?
I think they've got even newer and maybe even less experience. I don't know their age, so I don't know if they're younger. However, Shane is literally like the father figure of this team.
Right.
You know, this team initially qualified as a 4. They've decided to drop one of their players and pick up Shane. Not going to dive in too much into that.
Oh, good, because I was about to. I appreciate that.
However, Shane, great pickup, great leadership. He's a perfect role model for people that are trying to grow through the esport. And maybe those 3 have thought, I mean, I don't know the internals of NGZB, but maybe it was needed. Maybe they had to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, there is that kind of tale that sometimes you see where they do, you are that 10th team to qualify.
Yeah.
And then you end up just having the kind of the most demoralizing experience in a kind of, you know, we're talking the World League. The cream of the European crop are battling out here. And if you aren't up to the task, then it can just be a demoralizing experience for you. You put someone like Shane there, you've got, not only is he has experience and a strong player, but he's also that kind of rallying mentality where he can be like, guys, it's the first 3 games. It doesn't matter. Let's take this opportunity to learn. And you have to remember that this is, of course, over the course of 2 stages. You could be middle of the pack, slap bang, even a little lesser so, and still manage to qualify through that 2nd stage.
Yeah, I mean, everything's to play for. We've seen the first one, first map, if you like, or game series go to Infuse. But that doesn't mean Giants are out. You know, yes, they've got, you know, 1 L to their name, if you like. But there's so many more games to go, so many more weeks of this. It's not just a one-day thing like other tournaments have been. You've got to be in it for the long run. And like Shane, he'll bring that leadership. He'll be able to keep these calm and guide them, if you like, through this first game. But we saw Splice.
I was hoping you'd bring them up.
Splice are a team which have changed so much. I mean, we've kind of almost lost track of it. We've been like, no, he's in it. Now he's out of it. Yeah. But I think you have these ready. But we saw, obviously, Reedy departure from Splice. That was the big one for me.
Yeah, and this was something that, I mean, not everyone was anticipating, but you especially had your kind of like your sights set on this one during this exchange. Yeah,
I mean, I saw Reedy and Rated separated. It didn't seem well. We got asked, if you like, at the invitational that, you know, who would replace them, and I said Reedy's got to go. He's got to go across to Epsilon, which we'll touch on that later. However, kicking it off, Fringe Hardpoint once again.
Here we go, exactly the same as before. Let's see if we can see that 250-107 scoreline change for the closer. So far, Vesper taken away, Shiva in response. So an SMG and assault rifle both taken away. The stock, however, does make life even more difficult for anyone wanting to equip that assault rifle. Semtex flashbang taken away and concussion. So your nades are severely gimped, and now we're just going to be seeing the rapid fire cured as well.
Yeah, only strange one for me, which is maybe not always in there, is the stock. However, the M8 goes at the end. M8, Shiva, and Stock taken out. This could be a bit of an SMG brawl coming into this one.
Observation, have we seen a Protect yet?
We've not seen a Protect.
There you go. So, of course, everyone's more interested in just taking stuff away from both their opponents and the game, and kind of more interested in that than actually protecting anything for themselves. I mean, the balance of it is, yes, you've protected something, but that gives it to your opponent as well. So unless you were like prolific with a lesser known, for example, if you were really good at the Pharaoh and they knew it, then you could protect it, and that would be when there's kind of reason to do so. Anyway, Specialist Draft has kind of gone underway. We do have plenty of time to talk about it, no matter what that clock does say. And I'm going to let you run this through, Phil.
Okay, so Hardpoint, a game where you're going to respawn very quickly. It's very, very fast-paced. First to 250, however, 5 minutes on the clock. We will guide you through all of that step by step. But the Specialist Draft, Scythe chose neither side, Tempest chose neither side, and Kinetic Armor as well. Little differences there is Shane and Josh, both with the Fire Break, but Shane opting for the weapon, the Purifier, that flamethrower if you like, and Josh opting for that Heat Wave. Of course, that was banned in the previous series, but that's going to be a specialist where an ability where you can go into a hard point and just kind of just shut everyone down like a huge stun circling you and just kind of concussioning them so they're unable to even move.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how powerful Josh is with this, considering just how much it was, you know, a kind of, what's the targeted ban? There you go. It was a targeted ban from the Giants side where they basically want to take that away from Infused in every single game. Josh now has it. Let's see what he can do with it on Hardpoint. Of course, this is one of those kind of game types where you would expect to see Heat Wave be more prolific because of its kind of room clearing ability. What is Hardpoint? Usually, you'd expect it to be in a kind of small enclosed space where Heat Wave can thrive. So looking forward to seeing that one. Let's go back to the standard picks, though. Your Scythe, your Tempest, both on either side. Kinetic Armor joining them as well, and it's kind of self-explanatory, wouldn't you say? Yeah,
I mean, Scythe and Tempest, two huge weapons. You know, one shot kills pretty much the Scythe thereabouts, but that Tempest, that electric that just kind of pumps through, it can not only pick up a kill, but if you get it in a doorway or a window, for example, it blocks it off. That can chain reaction to other members as well. But you know, very, very standard for Hardpoint. The one that I'm going to be watching is the Heat Wave and the Purifier. Again, Shane versus Josh, these objective-based players which have known each other, without exaggerating, probably about 5 years now. You know, these have been battling it out for 5 years on Call of Duty. These are the veterans of the two teams, and they're the objective players of the two teams and the leaders themselves.
And in stark contrast, from veteran to newbie, Hawkeye is the name I want to kind of talk about a little bit more. I'm probably butchering that. Hawkeye?
Hawkeye, I think you got his spot on there, Alex.
Smashed it, because he's a British dude, right? Hawkeye.
He is.
Hawkeye. Either way, though, we just talk about him because he's a name that was actually kind of tossed around a bit. I don't know if everyone at home is aware that this wasn't the initial roster that he entered the World League with.
Yeah, entered with Orbit, didn't qualify, jumped onto Epsilon for a few days, got subbed off, and now he's found his way onto Splice. I mean,
that's insane.
Not doing too bad, but the thing that stands out, he's obviously a key player. People want him.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he stood out on the Orbit. Interestingly enough, X-Orbit on TCM and X-Orbit on Splice. We see Shane on that TCM roster. I'm going to flick over straight away to see Shane. He's usually a submachine gun player. Interesting on this roster, opting for the HVK.
All right. HVK, of course, is one of those assault rifles I would kind of highlight as a bit of a kind of hybrid. You can see it in those close quarters and do well because of its rate of fire. And look at that, immediately dispatches of Josh looking for a second on towards car. Not an easy shot to hit, especially with the bulletproof nature of that car, it seems. Now, though, we are going to be seeing a bit of a battle for this hard point. Now, you chose wisely with Shane. He's already doing a fantastic job of just keeping the opponent off it. However, his teammates are not being able to get on that as well. And this is the beauty of that mid-hard point, is you're rarely going to see a large amount of points acquired.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably seen about 10 kills already in the game, and we've only seen 4 or 5 points racked up. I mean, 30 seconds already gone. This is the scrap point. This is where you just don't want to let anyone jump on board. Vortex picking up a big 3-piece. I'm going to stay on board with him. However, 15 seconds. Machine, this is where you want to see the rotate, and for me, I'm going to bring that mini-map up for you guys to see. The boys on Splice just seem in control of this rotation a little bit better. Yeah, heading over to what I have dubbed as Junkyard. I'm sure others have other names for it, but it does just kind of strike me as a junkie by nature. But either way, he's going to get pushed in. The EMP does connect, but that's not going to stop the frag from coming in. I spoke a little too soon. He did connect it in the end, but that was all she wrote for Vortex. 54 seconds then, and the points are going to start climbing for TCM, holding from a distance. Look at that from Zerg with a Man of War. The first time we've seen that weapon so far here in the World League. Shane with a double. Hawkeye and Josh gone down from that one. It does look like TCM have taken a firm grip of this second hard point. Yeah, for me, Shane really, really impressing me with the assault rifle. Not something I'm used to seeing him wield. However, The boys from Splice managed to
What
break
was that?
And
How
then
did they break that? Was
Yeah,
that
I mean,
Josh?
I think that was pinched from either side. Josh gets taken down as a jump on board with him. Vortex still in the hard point. Can he make the kill? Yes, he does. Does have the HVK. Oh, Man of War, should I say, in his back pocket. Picks up a kill as well. But we talk about this rotation. The rotation this time going for TCM.
Look at Vortex go as well, but this is 15 points that they're just kind of throwing to the wind. I say throwing to the wind, that does look like there's a little bit of congestion. There it is. He just does jump on in, but that's not going to stop the frag. Vortex, incredible stuff from him, kind of solo holding and gaining an extra 10 or so points for his team. And now the rotate is on, going for that third one in towards the kind of White House. And now you see contention. It's going to come down to Vortex. Finally, he does go down, but it felt like a very, very solid play from him as he hits double digits with 10 kills.
Yeah, TCM went for that early rotation, but Splice, they held out on those last 15 seconds. Heatwave comes in, but for me, Splice, they not only had the last of the second hard point, they broke this very, very well and now have control of the third. Splice in control. Josh gets taken down, and that is all TCM. Let's see what they're doing right. Shane on the prowl for more.
This is really impressive stuff, not only from Shane, but from TCM in general, just filling up the kill feed for their team. Vortex seems to be a very kind of influential member of this team so far. 12 frags in stark contrast to, say, Josh's 3. But either way, they are in the lead, only by 10 points. Nice and close, just what we asked for in this one. Josh does again break the hill. He's actually doubled his score with those frags alone. And now the rotate is on once again towards Train. 5 seconds, those scrap points are going to be accumulated by the boys at TCM, but it all comes down to this one to try and break away.
Yeah, I mean, just slowing things down here for me. I'm going into this fourth hard point is one which you can contest a lot. These trains have these platforms on, as you can see in front of you, where you're just going to sit. The contention's going to go in, and we may see a little bit of a mirror of the first hard point where not many points are picked up. But if you can lock it down, as what Splice is doing now, you can accumulate quite a few. So again, me giving you the contrast of either side, but Splice in control. Nearly leveling up here, 63 apiece I can see coming in.
Yeah, this could very well go beautifully for Splice, especially if they can kind of maintain this. It does look like they are about to be challenged. I say that. The HXD could cause problems. It's a double. Oh, potentially. The Flak Jacket did come in to avoid that second kill, but it looks like he's going to pick it up all the same with a VMP. Fresh magazine for this fragging journey. As you see those remaining 15 points, and it does look like Splice managed to hold on to it. From being in the deficit before this train hard point, they have managed to completely maintain this hill and take all of those points into a nearly 90-point lead.
Yeah, as I was saying, it was a hill where you can contest a lot. Splice proved me very, very wrong. Yeah. They pushed out both either sides, and it was just how you were meant to do it. But for me as well, Vortex already hitting 18 kills. This is why this play was picked up from Splice. You know, a new member to the roster, but it is working very well. We're now full circle in this middle hard point. And for you guys at home, of course, it is first to 250. 5 minutes on the clock, but only 3 remain.
So you know how we've already dubbed this midpoint as a bit of a kind of scrap point. So we'll talk about that in a second, because Kinetic does get popped and does very little. In fact, Vortex kind of wasting that one. But the point I wanted to raise during these scrap points exchanges to say that they are still holding on to it. What I wanted to ask you, hang on a second, frag's still coming in. Guys, let me get my point across. Is what can you do to actually ensure a bit more of a point lead accumulated in mid? Are we talking smokes? Like, what can you do in order to maintain it?
Splice are answering your question here. They want to hold a certain spawn and hold that middle, but, you know, it's very easy if you push it too much for the opposition to spawn behind you, and that's when it goes, you know, goes to kind of pot and no one really knows what to do.
Yeah.
But for me, the answer to your question is have a general knowledge of where they're going to spawn and control it and just pin them in if you like, even though it's in the middle does make it more difficult.
Basically, don't let them cover ground. As soon as they're moving from that spawn, you've got yourself a contested
Don't let them out.
Right, absolutely. Just kind of lock them out of the hard point. At this point, we're going to see if they can do the same for this one. Trying to break that hill now. Looks like it's going to be Bans tries to do something, but Bran says no. Looks like he's going to be able to pick up a second. That fiber's doing him some world of good, as he's going to be picking up potential third. HCXD is ready. He's going to be under contention, but Josh just is destroyed, melted no less, by this man and his VMP. This could very well be another frag for him. It looks like Bans is trying to fight back, but I mean, look at this. Fantastic showing from Bran.
Yeah, Bran, I mean, a player, again, quite unknown to the scene, coming into this league as, you know, probably one of the underdogs, if you like, individually, but really showing his worth and coming into it. What I do want to do is stay on board with Josh. He seems to be having a bit of a tough game at the moment, 9-23, that entrance player, that person to break the hills, but he does have this heat wave in his back pocket.
Yeah, we've already seen that he did manage to kind of break towards that White House hill in the previous time he had Heatwave available. I'd be interested to see if he can do it again. But, I mean, on the kind of other side of the spectrum, I love this route from Vortex. Very smart, just kind of staying out of harm's way for as much as he can, pushing the limits of that 2-second timer. Another frag potentially coming in. It was Bance who picked it up with the MR6. These sidearms, Phil, cannot be stopped. Finally, Shane puts an end to Vortex, but that hill is under firm Splice control.
Yeah, we saw him at the offline event, of course. Bant, again, very much compared to Zero and Infused. He's a newcomer to the scene probably in the last year or so compared to your Joshes and your Shanes. But this kind of young Slayer that just seems to dominate all over the kind of park. He's just dominating TCM now. He's showing them how to play Call of Duty.
What's he got equipped alongside that MR6? I don't think we've seen it. There it is. Thank you. The Man of War for Bant. It's going to enable him that for that bit more mid to long range, and that's exactly what they're providing him. Tags coming in. No frags, though, as one man is bleeding out. Not going to be enough as TCM find 2 crucial frags to potentially play for that rotate. That's exactly what they're doing. They're stacked up on trains, and they're ready to set their sights on this next hill.
Yeah, strong lead for Splice off the last 2 hard points. Bant, a master of holding that with his Man of War. But TCM in this train spot, can they hold on to it like Splice did on the other side? Hawkey, another new member, showing his worth in the league with a 3-piece. Still going strong. He's got to be taken down soon.
He most definitely does, but he's going for a CQB HCXD. That's a lot of letters, and it could be a lot of frags if he plays his cards right. He hunts right bound behind him, gets the revenge. Bant's picking up that one as well. Shane went down to that one, so now Mother Hen is down. It's going to come down to what his little legs can do. Not much. Josh is dealing the damage with his, what is that, the VMP. And his heat wave is nearly ready. He could very well have that to defend those final 10 points.
Yeah, Josh and Bant closing down the whole of TCM. Yes, TCM did break the 100, but Splice now breaking the 200, of course. You know, they only need about 40 more points to end this. The 2 minutes on the clock, I can see that being shortened by the score here. Let's stick on board with Splice to see if they can end things.
Yeah, TCM have a nightmare on their hands now because we saw what Splice can do when it comes to mid control. And
Yes.
it all comes down to mid. This is the hard point they have to hold, and it's a very difficult one to do so. And so my question I asked you earlier becomes all the more relevant. What can TCM do? Right now, Shing's doing it absolutely perfectly. Holding onto that flag, could very well try and maintain it. Bant is going to be causing problems, though. 2 out of the 4 down. Now they have to go for a very quick retake, and they have to do it so damn fast. 2-2-5, and the bodies are piling up for Splice.
Yeah, Bant, every time he seems to spawn, he's getting 2 kills minimum. He's doing excellent work for his team, and now, you know, extending his lead. But again, this is where trades are coming in. The scythe is coming in here for the guys on Splice. I think that was Bant. He's still on this. I know I've given him a lot of airtime here, but he's showing people how to play Call of Duty, shutting them down, and we're going to see this go to the second hard point in the second rotation.
Yeah, I mean, look at that as well. That's 38. He's nearing on 40, as well as nearly 2 minutes on the hard point itself. He's not only playing aggressively, he's also managing to hold hard points, and that, my friends, is commendable. Going to be picking up those scrap final 8 points. I say that, spoke too soon. Bran, a little too good with that grenade. Or a frag grenade if you want to cause some drama.
Yeah, now the kinetic armor to break this. Could it be kinetic armor versus kinetic armor? Yes, it was. TCM seems to have come out on top. Yes, they have. I'm going to try and but it is Shane. He's the only one alive in here. Has that HC. Does make the kill. They are still in this, Shane.
Oh my god, he has the Purifier as well. Just hold it down. Not enough. Just the one for him as he does collect onto Hawkey. But surely this is the end. There's only so many HXDs in this one for TCM as they are going to start racking them up. Bran, the man behind the control there. And just 6 points left for Splice to pick up this win. This most definitely is a last chance saloon for TCM. 2 points, 1 point. Splice pick up that first win in this best of 5 series.
Yeah, 250 to 128 in the end. Very convincing, but TCM, I like the hunger for the game there. They didn't go out without a fight. They fought until the very last second, but Splice just managing to finish things off. There, Bant with the Man of War, 44 kills to his name, and like you said, nearly 2 minutes on the clock and 12 defends, Machine.
That's absolutely nuts. Those numbers just speak for themselves. Like, there's only so much we can say, like, okay, sorry for following Bant. There's a reason we're following Bant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 12 defense in itself is, I mean, you could be at the bottom of the scoreboard and we go, hey, 12 defense.
Yeah.
You know? That could happen instead. He's at the top of the scoreboard, pushing 50, and he's got 12 defense, over nearly 2 minutes on the clock as well. That's a strong player, and that's a strong individual. That was kind of the story of the desk when we had Gio, Jonas, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone was telling that story as well, surrounding Bant and just being an individual like that everyone would kind of crave to have on their team.
Yeah, and much like Infused, Zero, and Bant, both doing it offline and online. That's the great thing, you know. Pressure, for me, and Call of Duty is a big thing. Yeah. I crumble under pressure, you know. When I play in tournaments like this, or played, should I say, I made a few mistakes. However, these guys are showing you how it's done. They seem to have very good setups. They've done it for, say, months on end now, and they're just implementing it like a day-to-day thing. It's just like every day at the office for them.
And what's beautiful about the COD World League is it kind of will be a bit of a day job for them now. So two nights a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, this time, this place. We're going to be bringing you the same thing all the time. Of course, let us know on social media if you guys are enjoying it. Head over to @COD World League and give us your feedback as well. Of course, what you're expecting to see from both Bance and Splice as his team does take the early lead. Keep your eyes set on them. And also, I mean, I like this TCM story a little too much. I'm British. It's kind of in my blood to love the underdog. Because I mean, we have and will always be the underdog in too many sports that we created.
Yeah, pretty much all of them.
We're really good at that. We make sports and then get bad at them. But yeah, so I'll always love the underdog, and that's something I'm going to kind of keep my eyes firmly on. TCM, new names, Shane's at the helm. I'd love to see that story go well for them.
Yeah, and it's one of the things for Shane as well as, you know, Vortex on the opposite side. They didn't qualify, but they've had this like last chance, this chance given to them to come into this team. But Shane specifically has been given basically a leadership role. He's been given everything on the plate, an organization like TCM, but he just needs to prove his worth. We started off with him at the start of the game. He was doing excellent. However, Splice just kind of turned up, shut him down, especially Bance. But I'm very much agreeing with you in the fact that we love a fairy tale, don't we, us Brits? And we like the underdogs to come through, David and Goliath, and take down the big guns.
Yeah, indeed. Well, so far, Goliath won.
Yeah.
David 0. But we have a whole best-of-5 series to see, and I think, you know, the most telling game mode for this one will be Search and Destroy. This is where you're going to have to see, you know, both the impact Shane has had, but also the kind of power of these individuals. Going to set my sights on, of course, it is going to be played out on Breach. I'll let you break this one down.
Yeah, Breach, we've seen it already. However, first to 6th round, Plant and Diffuse will be different. Plant at 5, Diffuse at 7.5. And of course, time is everything. Only 1 minute and 30 for each round. So you've got to act quick as well as concise. You've got to be calm and collective, but every single kill matters because you only have one life.
Yeah, and one of the main points I want to make coming into this one, especially because it's on Breach, some trends we started to see established between Infuse and Giants was a more of a kind of leniency, a tendency towards B. Palace was less commonly approached on the A site. So that's something that I'm intrigued to see whether the same kind of trends appear, whether we are going to be seeing people kind of not steering clear of A because it is a very kind of approachable site both from mid and from the kind of the Palace route, but hell, I mean, why were they so kind of keen to get towards B?
B, for me, is a very, very favorable bomb site. You know, it's very close quarters, but if you can get that bomb down, you seem to be able to lock it down completely. However, A, on the other hand, it is the complete opposite. It's in the middle of the map, it's seen from every angle, and it's just that little bit more difficult. But Infuse seemed comfortable at B, whether TCM and Splice will. I don't think that's the case. I think they'll maybe split it up a little bit more.
Right.
They might go to A maybe round 3, round 4, something like that, just spice things up a bit. But for me, you know, it could go either way. I'm a big fan of that B-bomb site as long as they get it down.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my eyes on that one. I have just done some research and solved some of the mysteries that we were encountering here at the desk. But we are about to be diving into this one. And I'm going to kind of... So you know how you haven't been willing to commit to anything, Phil? Yeah. Who's going to win this one? It's a game of 2 halves. Blah, blah.
Draw. I'm feeling a draw.
I hate you.
No. You can ask me.
I was just going to ask you... You've seen it played out. You've been playing this game far too much.
Oh yeah.
What's your expectations for the ban and protect? Let's go. Let's see if you can call it.
Okay, so we're gonna see all bans just to keep it simple.
Makes sense.
You're gonna see your Vesper, your High Caliber, your Rapid Fire. I'm gonna see your M8.
I was hoping so.
Overkill.
Yeah. Yes, because it's S&D. Would you see a sniper as well, or is Overkill enough?
Is there an avid sniper in this team?
I mean, there's no 0, is there?
I know. I mean, no one's 0. Let's be honest. Massive fan. No big deal.
Yeah.
That's 5. I can draw 5.
I'll take 5.
Yeah. So High Caliber, Rapid Fire, Vesper.
There you go. I've got a couple
Overkill,
for you. Flash Concussion.
Flash Concussion and Semtex. We'll throw that one in.
What's going on? Let's see if we called it. What should be like absolutely 0
It'll
correct?
come up like Psychosis.
Yeah. Stop banning specialists exclusively. Maybe even.
We've given it our best shot, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We've attempted it. I mean, sidearms wouldn't have been a bad shout either, considering we did see a lot of MR6 work even in that one. I mean, even when the Urban isn't in the server, we are seeing kind of those pistols come out. Who was it? Was it Bance actually was using the MR6 quite a lot, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he was using that Man of War, which has a slow fire rate, so as soon as he gets close quarter, he pops out the RK5, I think it was, and it was just straight away on that trigger finger. Just shooting people down, much like PT did in the previous series as well. We saw UFO as well with that CUDA, and the MR6 he was wielding. But the sidearms in Call of Duty Black Ops 3 are fantastic. I love being able to use a sniper and that sidearm being, good enough to use against maybe an SMG or an AR.
Is it? I think it was Jonas was talking to me in the qualifier about Urban's technique. Is it Urban that has it? So can you explain why his MR6 is so kind of single shot is so quick?
I'd try and do it on camera with my fingers, but it would probably look wrong.
Have you not got a controller? No. Okay.
No.
So this is your controller.
Yeah, this is your controller.
Okay.
And basically, normally you would fire with one finger.
Yeah.
Up and down, simple. What he seems to do is he uses 2 fingers and he kind of like does that. It's like a wave. It's a wave, if you like. So as it's coming up, he's popping the next shot. So it's just like
Jeez. And what's it like again?
It's like That's in slow-mo.
That was slow motion. This guy's got multi-talented, multifaceted caster. But we do need to kind of start to address this one. We are blabbering on and just kind of keeping you guys...
I'm enjoying some Call of Duty. That's what I'm doing.
We are. I mean, he has a big smile on his face. So do I. I mean, it's just great to get this underway. Of course, we were delayed a week, unfortunately, due to the network problems that were encountered for PlayStation. But it's great to be back and be able to really just dig our teeth into this Call of Duty World League. And, of course, you guys at home are keeping us entertained as well. It's great to be hearing what you're throwing at us on Twitter. Of course, at COD World League. Throw that over. And actually, can you remember the hashtag? There's a combination of letters.
Hashtag CWLPS4.
Look at this guy, seasoned vet. But yeah, so we've had some kind of. This has been our first casting venture. Do you hate me or do you love me? This is 2 options.
I'm going to sit on the fence for this one.
Oh, it's typical Phil. Just typical Phil, really. At one point during this entire season, you're going to commit to a result.
It's got to be Millennium versus a team with maybe like 3 subs.
You see, you didn't want to commit there.
One person without a controller, and I'll go. I see it edging towards Millennium.
Yeah. One person without a controller. Now, you see, is this the case, right? Because we're back in my day when you'd have your friends over to play, on the console. Did you have a really like dog-eared rubbish controller that you bought from like Argos or something? Yeah,
and it was significantly cheaper. It was probably see-through, maybe a tint of red.
Oh yeah.
Buttons were slightly lined, and the handles were maybe wider.
Yep. And whenever your mate comes over, here you go, mate. There you go. That's for you.
Here's P2.
Yeah.
And P1.
P1's got like lights and bells and whistles and glitter. He's ready to go.
It's got all your sponsors. It's got everything you put on your headset, and the guy sat there with just a wire.
With his like kind of iPod headphones, like, what's going on?
He didn't have headphones. I wasn't that generous.
No, of course not. But we are, of course, kind of. I was about to say filling. We are just chatting because we are just awaiting the players to be ready to undertake this mission. I believe it is exactly time for the ban and protects to go underway. This game 2 then of our second series, Breach, Search and Destroy. Let's see how this one plays out. And so far, so good for our predictions.
1 out of 1. This is 100% prediction from Momo and Machine. We've got it right.
Oh, it sounds quite nice, that does.
Exactly. Machine and Momo.
Momo Machine. I like Momo Machine.
M8. Did I say the M8?
You did.
I did.
In that order as well.
Oh, yeah. And I'm probably thinking High Caliber next. Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you say Rapid Fire?
I did. I did say Rapid Fire.
What was next?
We said Stun and Concussion would come
Stun
in.
Concussion.
Overkill, I said.
Overkill.
Oh, I hope they don't, throw me off.
If you've actually done this. Oh, you didn't call the
Shane.
Damn, Shane.
He's bamboozling me at the desk.
He's got
Not only in Call of Duty.
He's completely thrown you under the bus for that one. But, I mean, let's be fair. Let's go back to the kind of serious note for a second. The Shiva did come out to play, as did the Man of War, and both were incredibly powerful. Overdrive, another surprise for us, which is kind of a welcome surprise at this point. Banned by Hawkeye, so trying to take that away from the boys at TCM.
Yeah, and Overkill. Oh, XR2 came in. We saw the XR2 being implemented the last game because the M8 was taken out, and it was actually used very, very well. Now, that was on the Infused game, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was Marky B using it.
Excuse me, yeah.
This time they've opted to choose the ban both. So AR-wise, we're probably going to see Man of War again and HVK.
Okay, and now the other intriguing point, while we do see the specialist draft going on, fear not, we will have plenty of time to address that while we still have the ban and protects fresh in our mind.
Yeah.
No concussion or flash ban. Are we? That's almost a guaranteed tac mask, surely.
Yeah, tac mask obviously is still there. Flak jacket's still available. I think you've got counters for every single one, but it's going to use up those slots. You only have so many, and if you want to be a flashy guy like me and have 7 attachments on your weapon, now you're probably going to be a bit limited.
Okay, and intriguing enough, we are going to be seeing 2 heat waves. That's new for this matchup. We're going to be seeing that one picked up. Of course, it was banned away in our first game. We've seen Psychosis, no surprises there. Active camo as well, and potentially we're going to be seeing a mirror matchup if kinetic armor is acquired. Walk us through them, Momo.
I mean, all even Stevens either side, but Psychosis, a big one for Search and Destroy probably isn't going to be used on any other game type, but for Psychosis, it's one of those, maybe in a 1v1, you can just pop it out, let it loose, and that other player is going to be confused. You know, I've seen teams, you know, use these in the best of times and the worst of times.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that I was always expecting to see a big play from Marky B when he picked that up in our previous game. However, it's going to be more of a case of don't use it when you're on a platform, because they all just ran the opposite direction. They were not interested at all.
And they're not very good at jumping. They're good at kind of saying, oh, look at me, I'm a real person. They like to run into a few walls, but I tried it online. I ran into a wall as well. It didn't work. I got spotted and I got taken out. But running through the rest of them for you guys as well. Active Camo, Josh and Shane, again, those objective players being taken under control. Hawkeye with the heat wave, and Niall also the heat wave as well. Two newer players to the scene, however, very, very intense, and hopefully going to be making a big name for themselves in the Call of Duty World League. And finally, Vortex and Brand, the only ones ready here with 20 seconds left to go, using the battery kinetic armor. A big one in Search and Destroy. One life, you want to put, you know, 95% of your body under some cool-looking armor. That's how you do it.
Is that how you rock? I mean, the thing that I love the counterplay to kinetic armor is just aim for the head, right? Like that's how you do it. And I love that you could be seeing someone complete, like they work so hard just to like accumulate the necessary kind of time for the kinetic armor, and then like 2 taps in the head and it's over. Like there is a kind of a risk reward to kinetic armor, absolutely. But coming into this one, then we are just going to be kind of editing their score streaks. We are expecting to see kind of a distinct increase in tac masks and flak jackets, considering all nades and flash/concussion are available. If not, though, this is going to be a bumpy ride for everyone. Yeah. Lots of flashes to break the hill. Oh, not that break the hill, excuse me, break the site. Still coming to terms with all this this terminology.
But very, very mirror matched, evens across the board. There's no one at an advantage here. Everything's protected the same, everything's banned the same. You've got the same availability to choose these score streaks, same ones for the abilities, for the weapons, and the specialists. And now for me, interesting ones to watch. We talk about the veterans of the scene is Shane and Josh, both using active camo. Both will be the bomb carriers. Maybe I'll eat my own words. Shane was playing a bit of a different role in the hardpoint.
He absolutely was, and for me, I just want to see what these heat waves can do. I mean, you know, if you need to kind of push into a site against all odds, a quick kind of AoE or area of effect stun is going to definitely get you a step in the right direction. Still, though, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our second game in this series. It's going to be Search and Destroy. It's on Breach, and we're going to be seeing what Splice versus TCM can do. Splice off the back of the win in that first game. Let's see what Hawkeye and his team can do to try and take another step in the right direction. Bran already down, and now to 4v3. Yeah,
we've seen already the impact of the flashbang and concussion not being banned there, but Niall picking up a kill. Gonna flick on board with Vortex. New member for the roster here, 2v3. Going for this wall run, being a little bit sneaky here. Can he get behind enemy lines? Only time will tell. 1 minute left on the clock.
I like it a lot. He's going to go aggressive, and that picked up that frag. It would have completely opened up the site, but Zerg a little too quick on the trigger. And now we see ourselves a clutch situation all onto Hawkeye. The new blood in the scene. He's not going down without a fight as he does find Shane. And now it is Niall and Zerg. Some would say this is nigh all impossible, but...
some may say, as you finish that one out. Nigh an impossible here for Hawkeye as he gets taken down. Zerg, though, proving dominance. They're picking up 2 kills to his name. Already on 200 points, aiming towards those score streaks and specialists, of course. The more points you get, the closer you will be to unlocking that.
I'm happy to be seeing more of the Man of War. I mean, this is a rifle we didn't see too much of, like unless rapid fire was available. It became more popular. No rapid fire, and he's still picking it up.
Yeah. And I think the great thing about Black Ops 3 is your submachine guns, your assault rifles, you've only got 8 bans. If you ban 4 SMGs and 4 assault rifles, there's still ones to choose from which is available. And it makes it a level playing field. Looks like a battle is going down in mid-map. I'm going to try and jump on board with someone a little bit closer. Bran, more in the action here. Middle map, going to come against Vortex, taking down first blood for him.
Yeah, Vortex's head is no more, and he's actually looking for a second as well. Whips out the MR6 and a couple of bullets. Would seize the opportunity. However, he does look like he's playing the cover well. Or for just for a second, Bantz caught with his trousers around his ankles towards that A site. And now it is going to be coming down to a 4v2 Splice. Looks like they're going to be looking a little weak at the knees in this second round. 50 seconds and the bomb's already going down. This, my friends, is the power of fast fragging. And Zerg's going to be the one getting that bomb down. I say was, past tense. Josh eliminates him with a Kuda. Surely not a second, no. Bran shakes his head, and now potential third frag for Bran with that Man of War if he finds Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye, 1 versus 2. Great play from TCM. They managed to rotate, got one man taken out of the squad as he did, but he's going to come up against both of them. Hawkeye takes down one, not going to be able to take down the second. And now, you know, TCM 2-0.
Just, I mean, quite literally a fraction more on his field of view, and he could have very well spinned and picked that one up, as he was completely unaware of Brand's positioning. And that's going to be an easy pickup. Brand a couple of bullets to the spine, picks that one up, and we're going to be seeing Splice manage to stabilize a 2 versus 4, and everything was lining up for TCM in that round. However, no equalizer for them, and we're going to be seeing Splice now swapping sides, and still 0 for them on the board.
Yeah, Hawkeye, man of the moment here, 4 frags to his name, already picked up in this, going into round number 3, taking the aerial route on that AC unit, backing up his team now. But interesting enough, just popping this map up, all 4 members going to be. However, look at that line created by TCM. This is where they come back. Yeah,
TCM need to rotate and rotate fast, because if that bomb goes down, they can hold positions. Hang on a second, Niles made me eat my words, finds Vortex, and now Splice, while they were on the offensive, while they did have time to get that bomb down, the rotate has occurred. We have a pincer movement almost from Flowers and from middle. Just jumping up, trying to catch an eye line with that thermal scope. Bance, of course, taking perhaps a leaf out of Zero's book. We saw how powerful he can be with that sniper. And it comes down to a question of movement. He's going to catch a glimpse. There's one to the left. No, he didn't see. He's just hunting this frag, and he's going to find it. Zerg. That's just a kind of case of poor communication. If the words were not spoken, he's never going to look that way. Shane now has to do it all.
Yeah, 2 versus 2. Bance is under fire here, but the bomb is not down. He's going to go for a play, trusting teammate Hawkeye to do everything. Let's see what he's doing, because he's going to come under fire with a bomb. Will go down. 2 versus 2. Let's see what they can do.
40 seconds and already one frag has been exchanged in favor, though, of TCM. This could very well be that first round they need. They need to start things off with a bang. Hawkeye, the last man standing. The defuse is coming in. Time of the essence. Turn around. He needs to catch him. They get off the defuse. He's done it. Hawkeye, the new blood, draws blood and picks up the first round for his team.
Yeah, really, really important. Search and destroy. You know this. Your background is in search and destroy. To go 0-3 down in a search and destroy is demoralizing. However, to clutch up in a 1 versus 2, to keep your team in the game, you know, only 1 round behind now, Splice, but a massive play there for Hawkeye. Really tactically done as well.
Yeah, I mean, 3-0 and 2-1 sound like other worlds apart. Like, it's incredible the difference that makes. And to come off a clutch as well, 7 frags. Good God, he's responsible for almost all of the frags. Josh and Bance, the only ones to provide just the 1. Hawkeye, can we just spend some time with Hawkeye? I know we shouldn't, but I just want to see what he's doing. Oh, so right, okay, he's being boring. Never mind. Does have his heat wave available, though. Zerg in the meantime putting some bullets over towards window. No one peeked, but Vortex's movement, he slipped off the wall and he's now gone. And an easy early frag for TCM without having to do a thing.
Yeah, easy frag. However, that puts Vortex on 0-4. Very demoralizing. And frags come in. Kills are exchanged. Zerg spots one behind him. Now only 2 versus 2. Zerg and Shane up against Josh and Bance. Let's see what they can do as the bomb goes down at A.
All right, the bomb's down. That's a step in the right direction. Zerg timing again, causing problems, but quick traded out by Shane. Experience a little too strong. And he has the HVK. There is one close. This is where that hit fire needs to be beautiful. Finds the head of Bance. Everything suggested that wasn't his frag. His back was turned. He had the assault rifle, but Bance meets his demise.
Yeah, and Shane putting a few kills on the board for his team again, backing up what he can do in gun skill as well as knowledge. He's very well known for, you know, his experience, his knowledge, his bamboozling. He's talked about that. No one talks about his gun skill. Looking at him in that 1 versus 2, got that, you know, that trade kill and turned around, got himself away, and now picks up another round for his team. However, Vortex 0-4. I'm gonna give him some love. Let's hopefully the casters can influence him and get a kill. He spotted one. Right at the back on that top greenhouse. Such a hard shot to make with an assault rifle. This is where the snipers can come into play. Does see one jumping across, and he's going to put bullets down. He's going to get the kill, and he does get stunned. Vortex somehow still alive.
This is the reason Concussion and Flash are such contested bans, because of the power they possess. And actually, look at this flank. Who is that coming right round the back? You see Vortex is almost ready for him. It is going to be Shane coming around, looking to find a 5th, perhaps even a 6th frag as he is on the way back. Vortex still holding steady. There is an exchange, and Bran comes out on top of that one. And I mean, this is such a commonly pre-aimed spot, and timing again. Shane, beautiful execution from him, finds Vortex. He could very well find a second here if he plays his cards right. Instead, backs away, knows time is on his side, and Hawkeye is forced to go hunting.
Yeah, Hawkeye is on the hunt, as you say. Gonna come up against Shane shortly, but with the RK5, not gonna have the best weapon of choice. He's gonna make the kill, and now a 2 versus 2 down from 2 versus 4. Only 30 seconds left on the clock, and it is all up to Nile. Could they make this 2 versus 4 a round win for themselves?
Checking his corners. He's going to catch a glimpse. Not quick enough. And Josh, so effective with that Kudo. We saw UFO actually for Giants being equally as effective with the weapon. It's good to see all SMGs getting some screen time, especially when that Vespa is removed. But all bullets straight to the belly button. And that's going to be another pickup for the boys of Splice.
Yeah, interesting perk layout there for Josh. Using Afterburner, obviously, enabling you to recharge that thrust more, whether he's trying to go for some specific wall runs. We will find out another time when he is on the attack. But Brand, man of the moment, 7 kills to his name already. Look at it, look how aggressive he's being. Stuns are going out. He's surely going to see the guy. That was in the active camo.
That was Josh using the active camo for the entry. Quickly, though, traded out by Nile, and he's found a second as well. Shane as well. TCM are just lighting up the kill feed. I can barely keep up with it myself, and now Hawkeye again forced to go clutch. One more, though. It would have to be a 1v3. Now 1v2. He started to do some maths. He's got the abacus out, and now brought it down to just 2. Zerg and Shane does have his heat wave available. That's just a little bit of a kind of advantage that he may very well be able to implement into this one, but TCM quaking in their boots. That's Hawkeye, the mad fragger, 9 frags, looking to reach double digits and more against this bomb timer. 35 seconds. He's just going to be creeping and crawling his way into Palace and looking to kind of set his name in lights. Not looking easy, though. He does get tagged up. They know exactly where he is. He's going to be caught by Shane. Teamwork makes the dream work, and that's going to be an easy one for Splice.
Like you said, they're all about the teamwork. Stuck together, you know, didn't rush out, didn't make any sporadic plays, if you like, and Shane, you know, just doing what is needed. Like I say, another day at the office for this gentleman, doing it for so many years. He's using the flat jacket and tap mask, something you pointed out at the start. With the stuns and with these frags available, you know, he's reflecting those with the perks in hand. Now, Vortex still on 0 and 6. Hawkeye, gotta stay on board with him.
I'm getting a little, okay, I was getting a little bit confused, but it is going to be 4 for 2 in favor of TCM, and this, my friends, is exciting. The new team on the block, of course, with Shane at the forefront of this one, has started to accumulate quite the lead up against Splice. This is a selling round as well. Getting themselves on match point would mean so much for TCM and keep them in the running, and Brand's taking a step in the right direction. The Man of War is going to win out on that one. There's a second one here in the hands of Hawkeye. Josh again with the Kudo. We are just constantly seeing this man cause havoc in middle. Not for too much long, though. And it's just going to be brought down to a 2v2. It does feel like the same story again and again.
Yeah, for me, it's just kills are being traded, and it's been done specifically well. You know, you're learning search and destroy. If your teammate goes down, you need to jump out, you need to make that trade, and that's what they're doing, and that's why we're seeing these 2v2s, these 1v1s. However, this is going to be an important play. Hawkeye is going to take it, does take damage, has the RK5, is going to go for the rotate. Now 2 versus 1.
I thought that heat wave was burning a hole in his pocket. He was just going to kind of use that a bit prematurely. Instead, though, the bomb's going down, and actually against the clock, if he can get this frag, if he could just connect a few bullets, that could very well completely change the course of this round. Instead, though, the bomb goes in. Timer extended, almost doubled to 40. Now Zerg is a kind of race against the clock to not only find frags, but it will get that defuse in as well. 7.5 seconds, as you saw before we started, in order to pick up that defuse. And he's got to try and double his score. He had 2, now he has 3. It could very well be 4. He's tanked, though. Has to back away. He has Psychosis. This could be the perfect time to implement it.
Yeah, Hawkeye doing a very dangerous move. This is basically what I referred to as a wraparound. Is basically you run away, you do a whole kind of lap of the map almost. Very, very risky, but you take yourself out the situation. It seems to have worked for him, because now, with the clock and ticking down, he's going to be able to finalize this round.
Yeah, and Zerg has absolutely no clue. Beautiful from Hawkeye. It felt very, very risky, but Zerg was just unwilling to commit to that defuse. I mean, that's a risk he wasn't willing to take, and it's cost him not only the round, but also a little bit of his dignity.
Doesn't manage to dodge the bomb, though. You know, played such a smart play. Gets killed by the bomb. However, is a win for his team. Now 4-3 in favor of TCM. And again, jumping on board with TCM, that lead narrowed shortly. We talked about 3-0 and 2-1 being worlds apart. You know, it's exactly the same as what we've just seen here. Can they make it 5-3, or will Splice level it up to 4-4?
This battle for middle, this is where Psychosis can very well do all the work for you. Bomb does go down, though, and that's going to be all onto Splice. 3 quick frags. All of a sudden, blink and you miss it. Shane's shaking his head, wondering where his team just went, because they evaporated, and Josh was the one with the blowtorch. He finds that 4-4. Yeah,
it was all about Josh there. Josh snuck round the outside with that wall run, saw the Psychosis be popped, and he basically... he used it almost against them. You know, they thought they were safe. They were like, yeah, let's let our drones go in. And Josh came right behind him, picked off 2 and jumped up and make the 3rd kill there. It was Josh's round, and he brings his team back into the game. 4-4, of course. Splice taking that first map. Can they take the second?
Hawkeye and Josh are the names to remember, and they're going to be haunting TCM's dreams if this doesn't go their way. 2 names, both hitting on double digits, 10 and 11 apiece. and they are just constantly taking it in turns to acquire rounds for their team. Now, though, it looks like we're going to be taking a bit of a slower pace. Good to see that they can kind of take either page out of their strategy manual.
Yeah, just flicking on board with Josh. I'm going to highlight him just for a second here. He's watching basically the full flank, and he's going to do, and it is again Shane.
My God.
The thing is that Josh has always been the kryptonite of Shane, and he knows him so well. They've played against each other, like I said, for years, and it's just worked for him once again. And I can almost hear them say it. Josh be like, I think Shane's going to flank this map, so I'm just going to watch it for you guys go to B, and it's worked so well.
Yeah, I mean, Shane kind of seems to be a bit of a one-trick pony so far here on Breach. He's been trying to do that flank every single time when on the defense. 2 players on that rooftop, though, and we're going to be seeing how much damage they can do. Oh, Josh, not again. Surely not. He's going to pocket a double. Finds the head of Bran. The bomb's going in, and he has done almost all the work necessary for his team. And that's 3 rounds consecutively for Splice off the back of Hawkeye and Josh.
Yeah, I wanted Josh to get that last kill just to get the ace, but Josh watched full flank, picked up Shane, rotated right around the map, purely off communication from his team, and picked 2 in the back.
And that's also going to be so aggravating for Shane, because he's like, I'm going to flank, and then Josh says, no, you're not, and I'm going to show you how to flank. That was brutal.
It's a kick in the teeth, but both of these players, they know each other so well, and this could be the last round. Let's see what TCM have to offer. Let's see what Shane can do now against Splice. Let's see if he can win this and go to 5-5.
They need the equalizer now just to survive. That 2-0 deficit in the series would really be the first nail in the coffin of TCM. As, you know, we've seen that early trade. That's what we're talking about. And the HCXD is down. Great accuracy from Nile there. It's hard to hit that kind of pixel of an RC car, especially as distance does increase quite rapidly with that speedy thing. Now, those 60 seconds on the clock, and Josh has slipped off now. It's just been Josh and Vortex. Both members of Splice have been having trouble with their movement, taking risks that they really can't afford to, especially in this crucial round. Bombs in, and TCM, they have the advantage, or just for a second. Pat's tense, because the frags from Bants are enough, and that's going to be 2-0 in the series. Splice, oh, and a bit of BM as well. Bad manners, bullets to the corpse.
Oh, wait, no, I don't think Bants knows he's dead. Yeah, he's dead. I think I'll defuse. I think he's got it. He's got it, yeah.
Yep, okay.
Just making sure. Just
Please
sure.
stop, he's already dead.
I don't think there he was just, he was just making sure he was dead once again.
Was he, yeah? What, with his crouch button?
Yep. I think it was meant to be kind of like just a make sure it was diffused.
No, he was attempting to resuscitate him with crouch.
Okay.
But yeah, beautiful stuff from Bants. And you know what? This is just testament. This entire game is testament to the kind of the mental fortitude of Splice. To be at a deficit, and I'm saying mental fortitude after Bants has just done that, but like just seeing that 6-4, they were down, they had a disadvantage, they win 4 rounds back-to-back.
Yeah.
4 rounds back-to-back. That takes a lot, and it's very impressive stuff. Taking nothing away from TCM, though, because I felt like that we're already seeing glimmers of really good play from some of those names. Bran, Nile, these names coming out already, and I'm seeing good stuff from them. So very happy to see the state of TCM. This doesn't feel like a walkover.
And a new roster as well. You know, this isn't one that's been around for a long time. It's not an Infuse, which has come off the previous tile. These are new. These are gelling together as teammates, not only in the game, but outside as well. Yeah. And that goes for either side. And for me, these are only going to grow. These are only going to get better. But for me, in that last one, it was Josh. He went from kind of 0 to hero almost.
Absolutely.
And then back to 0 when he fell off the map. But, you know, he won it. 3 kills in 2 rounds consecutively, could have been more, and really showed, you know, Shane kind of, you know, I won that one.
I loved that he got in the head of Shane as well. We've always kind of cited him as being that individual where Shane has this strong mental capacity, and he can read into games, he can make the calls, he can also make the plays, as we saw in that 1v2. But Josh just had his number. You said he's the kryptonite. I mean, how long has that kind of rivalry existed?
It's going to go back so many years.
Rewind the clock for everyone while we load into our third
We're talking probably 4 or 5 Call of Duties ago.
Whoa, okay.
And it's when Josh first came into the scene, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here. I team with Josh, you know, no big deal.
Oh my God, are you the real Momo?
But Josh left me, went on to a better team, as most people do. And then he progressed to kind of a top tier 2, where Shane was always at that tier 1 with the likes of Swanee. And that's where Josh was kind of nipping at the toes of Shane always. And the reason is, Shane and Josh are such similar players, they never team together. There's no need for them to team together, because they're both objective players. They both do exactly the same, and that's why when they come up against each other, it's kind of like getting one over. You know Jerd very well as well. Jerd's kryptonite was Josh as well. Josh beat Jerd 7 times in a row in Call of Duty in series. I mean,
wow.
I'm just throwing all kind of knowledge bombs at you here, which you probably don't want to know. But yeah, interesting one to see Josh kick off the Search and Destroy.
Yeah.
And of course, lead his team 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, great stuff from him and from everyone. I feel like we just took it in turns, like round after round, to see clutch after clutch, play after play. And that's a good one to watch. I mean, I'm going to probably go back and watch that one again just to kind of make sure I didn't miss anything, because that felt like a very fun game to watch. And of course, we're going to be doing this all the time, Tuesday and Wednesday, every single week. You guys are going to be able to get the same old action, of course, followed by, or sorry, kind of pre-covered by Australia, followed by North America. It's going to be a whole lot of Call of Duty for all of you guys out there, new and old. Welcome. We're going to be talking about Uplink next. It's going to be that same map. Infection is the map. It was a pretty incredible spectacle just to see how far Infuse could get ahead of Giants in this one. Was it 16-0 at one point, 15-0?
Yeah, 15-0 when we rejoined it. Yes, Giants came with that kind of comeback towards the end, if you like, those 2 points. However, this is going to be just as spectacular, I believe, but in a completely different fashion. I think instead of it being an out-and-out dominance like Infuse was, this is going to be head-to-head, like we've seen in the last 2 games, really. But Shane and Josh, we've focused on them so much. Objective players, they'll be the drone carriers, whilst you've got your Brands, your Niles, your Bances all surrounding you, giving you the support you need. And I think taking the focus away from Josh and Shane, it's going to be about who can slay better. Yes, the objective players like Josh and Shane, they'll be able to do their routes, they'll be able to do their throws, but for me, it's all about the slaying power going into this next game.
So are you suggesting, like, if you've got good slayers, what's the kind of plan? What are the words being spoken? Is it just go crazy, like let them off the leash and just go slay, or is there more of a kind of method to it?
I think for me, it's making those entrance kills and then pushing up and getting in power positions. You'll see people on this kind of middle point on those stairs, just aiming at different sites, and then it's kind of like very symmetrical. Call of Duty's always been very symmetrical, but as soon as you pass the kind of halfway line and you go past those sandbags in the middle into their base, that's where you're in their spawn. You can really nail down all the kills. That's what Infuse did so well. But I think, you're going to see like Vortex and Hawkeye come up against you, Nile and your Brand, and it's going to be a clash of kind of the new guys, if you like, to kind of win this one. But TCM need to take this. They're 2-0 down.
That's the point I was just about to make. This could be it. This could be our second 3-0 to kick off the European World League. I mean, I absolutely love that we've got these kind of exchanges already where, like, I mean, again, in Search and Destroy, that could very well have been a win for TCM. Just how it could have been a win for Giants. Like, these games are going close. Not perhaps that Infection uplink game between Giants and Infuse. That's another one to watch for an entirely different reason. But do be sure to, of course, check out those VODs. They'll be available on the channel you're on right now. Of course, / Call of Duty for that one. But we need to start talking about the ban and protects, because you just highlighted an interesting point to me. You know that kind of sandbags power position, as you highlighted. We saw just how prolific it can be. Like, in terms of what you want to be taking away from players in those power positions, what are we talking here? Assault rifles? Like, I feel like assault rifles may be more likely to be taken away in this one.
Yeah, this is where the slaying comes into places. Your M8s, your Shivas, and your XR2s. But you take all 3 of them away, you're going to see the Man of War, you're going to see the HVK. You only have 4 bans per team. No matter how much you take away, there's always going to be an assault rifle to be able to be used. And that's the case, that's how it should be, because if you just took every single assault rifle away, it'd be very, very silly. I mean, all 8 players could take assault rifles away, and I'm sure they'd find something. Yeah,
the Dingo.
They'd use an LMG. The Dingo, he's got it right. You see, you know. Right. You've been practicing.
Yeah, he doesn't believe me, but I'm a real slayer.
Yeah, with the Dingo.
With the Dingo.
Any attachments in particular?
I'm a Dingo rapid fire kind of guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have more of a Dingo laser sight?
Oh, yeah? Well, and just kind of close your eyes and hold it down?
Spray and pray.
That's right. Well, we'll maybe bring in a kind of separate segment of Momo showing his Dingo prowess. But first, we need to talk about these other expectations into this one. Let's talk specialists then, because I know that we are kind of... we're about to see them, but I'm always find it interesting to start that discussion early because, like, so for example, we've already started seeing trends develop. I do want to see a bit more variation, like, so Uplink's the one where things can go a bit crazy. You have a bit more freedom, and I just want to touch on that a bit more. What are, like, the surprises we could potentially see?
For me, you're going to see abilities abilities rather than weapons,
Yeah.
which is the opposite to your hard points, really. So you're going to see the overdrive, unless it gets banned. That's a popular one in Uplink. You're going to see your active camos, as we saw Josh, Zero, Shane using already. But for me, kinetic armor is going to be a must. You've got to have that body armor available when carrying the drone. But I'd love, like you said, I'd love to see someone just pull out something different.
One of these
Jerd
days.
once pulled out the Purifier on Capture the Flag. I was like, the guy's crazy.
Yep.
He's chosen the wrong one. I'll have a word with him after to make sure he doesn't do it. And then he picks up like some 3-piece with a Purifier, and I don't know. I look pretty
love it.
stupid, but like you said, I want to see something different. I'd love to see it.
I'm crossing my fingers and toes for a Reaper. One of these days. Throughout,
Just
so
a stab.
We've got 2 stages. Someone's going to pull out a Reaper and just go on a spree, like 3 or 4 frags.
Yeah, I think who would be the guy to do that? I think that'd be someone like Josh.
You think Josh is the kind of guy that would have the audacity to pick a
I think
Reaper?
it's almost like you said, bad manners. I think someone just like to, I'm going to use a Ripper.
And that touches on the subject of mind games, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
but it doesn't matter what I'm casting, what I'm watching, what I'm doing. Mind games in general, like in terms of Call of Duty, especially considering when I was playing, like I was such an advocate for just getting in my opponent's head. Stuff like that, stuff like you saw from Bance, that kind of like bullets into the corpse kind of thing.
Yeah.
It looks trivial, it looks stupid. But when you actually get down to the nitty gritty, those are those little kind of ninks that get into your head, and you start like, I mean, you saw Josh. If every time Josh killed Shane, he was like, knew it, smiley face.
Oh
like,
yeah.
If he was, if he could communicate that in some way, that's when you can really build up an advantage that isn't visible.
And it's the only way of communicating. You can't talk to your team, so the only way is kind of like, just putting an extra bullet in them.
Yeah, like,
that's 1-0, 2-0. Oh, I got you again.
Yeah.
But the great thing about this is, online, it's so kind of intense and there's so much on the line. But offline, they're all kind of best of friends. Like Shane and Josh in particular, they came together these 4 or 5 years ago, kind of rivals, clashed their heads so many times, and now that you see them outside of the game, almost best of friends, if you like. And that's kind of the.
I mean, I hope that's always the case.
Oh,
I'd like to think, you basically have these guys that will do whatever they need to do to win online. As soon as they're offline, they're having a tea party. They're giggling together. They're skipping down the road. They're having a great time.
Tea, crumpets.
Is it a scone or is it a scone, man?
Scone.
Is it?
I'm from up north.
Yeah, scone. Scone.
Yeah.
What's the fastest cake in the United Kingdom? I've just ruined it. Yeah, scone. Because it's so fast, it's scone. You see what I did there? Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, I mean, I've got loads of awful jokes if you want to keep going.
You will soon learn. If any kind of Call of Duty players have seen me cast before, it's the same thing. It is the master of cheese, Alex Richardson.
Thank you.
I think you said it was with the Nile reference.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Nigh on impossible.
Nigh impossible. I was pushing the limits there.
It's a killer.
Alex
it's a killer.
Machine Cheddar Richardson. That's me, man.
Literally.
What would a machine?
But it's so
cheddar?
hot for me. I've got to stay focused. I've got to. It's not funny.
I'm not funny. I'm not. I just kind of.
I'll try.
Okay, I appreciate that.
It's the comedy of COD.
The comedy of COD.
Yeah.
Talking of comedy, we are just waiting for one player who I have no idea. I could make up anything what he's doing right now.
Yeah, it's Josh, and he's gone for a.
Josh has gone to build a bear. He's actually gone to he's picking out the outfits now. He's not sure if he wants to go for the sailor or if he wants to go for the fireman. So that's what he's currently up to.
What would you go for?
If I was in Josh's position right now, straight away, no questions asked, I would get the bear in a suit.
No qualms.
No qualms.
No qualms. Bear in a suit.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paddington style. Oh, he's wearing like a jacket, isn't he?
Yeah. Bit like you.
You can talk, mate. Mr. Purple over there, Willy Wonka on my right.
Come to the chocolate factory.
All
The
right.
ginger factory over here.
We are going on a tangent, and that is because, of course, we are still waiting for that player. One more reminder about social media, because, why not? Do be sure to head over onto Twitter. Head over to @CODWorldLeague as well, using the hashtag CWLPS4, and just let us know your thoughts on how stupid we look. I mean, let's talk about Willy Wonka. Let's talk about Build-A-Bear Man. I don't know. I didn't have a name there.
It was good enough.
I tried. But either way, it is going to be hopefully a 4th and 5th, because we haven't seen a series go all the way. And that's something that, I mean, let's be honest, let's talk about the games that are coming up if you have just tuned in or wondering what's coming up, because there is a whole lot more Call of Duty coming up after this one as well. We have Pulse Gaming up against XL, we have Epsilon versus LDLC, and Millennium Vitality to round out the day. So you've got a lot to look forward to after this one, after this player finally builds his bear. But you can see, this is going to be a fantastic day.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we've got the Battle of the Brits here. Next, we'll be going France versus UK. I love to make it international. I mean,
Absolutely.
We're all friends at heart.
It's the World League, dude.
Yeah, it's the World League, and at the end of all of this is the World Championship. So everything is, so much on the line, so much money. 7 o'clock, we've got the French versus the UK at Pulse and XL. 8:30, Epsilon LDLC. But I mean, that last game, Millennium versus Vitality at 10 o'clock, that's the one I'm excited to see. The number one, the guys that have won the last couple of tournaments, that have proven their worth against this French lineup, which has so much potential.
And I mean, like, incredible potential to the point where the desk that came into this one, other than Jonas, the French bias, everyone else kind of doubted Vitality. They were like, no, they're not coming into the top 4. And then as we saw them after that first day, you should have seen the looks on their faces when we started to discuss Vitality, because everything changed. You were included, where you'd kind of go, actually, you know what? Risking, Broken. You start listing these names, Target. You're like, okay, Vitality are a real, like, a competitive team, and this could very well be a top 4 team.
And between then and now, the amount of time that I've seen them put in, I'm a big stream watcher, you know. I've seen Gatarga streaming. He's been doing all kind of tournaments. Everything he can get involved with, he has been doing. That's the great thing that I love about Gatarga as well, is he's got everything a gamer wants, right? But he still wants to come. He wants to win. He wants to win the tournaments. And he always wants it. And he tells me it's for the pride. It's for the first place. It's for kind of the presence of, yes, I am still the best. And he doesn't really need that, but he still wants it. And that's what's great about Vitality and Gatarga in particular.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of I think there's a lot of that in the higher echelons of Call of Duty across all continents, you know.
Yeah.
The best players usually are the player that needs to be told that they're the best and prove that they're the best, and I think that's really important factors to have. Still, though, it is finally Ban and Protect. We're going into our third one. It's Uplink on Infection, and it is, of course, between Splice and TCM. This British battle is about to unfold, and we have actually seen our first Protect.
Is that green?
Of the Call of Duty. What color is that? What is that shape?
Is that not a red Vespa?
What's going on?
It's a green M8. That's coming from Bran, so of course they will be using the M8s. One thing that we could see is the ban of a stock to kind of stabilize them, to make them static. But no, we have to see here that the concussion and flashbang are taken away, but the Vespa, we see it time and time again taken out. We are yet to see that. It's the gun I love and I play with online, but it's taken out once again. I'm a big Vespa fan.
Yeah, I mean, understandably so. I mean, I've seen you kind of go crazy on the Publics with that one, but the face melter has been removed, and now we have to see what else is available. Both concussion and flashbang, a nice change from what we saw over in S&D, but we have high caliber, no surprises there. Shiva, and I didn't even catch that final ban. Was that an overdrive? I think it would make sense to see an overdrive banned away. But either way, we're going into that specialist draft, and we can see exactly how this one does play out. I've already suggested this is one of those ones where we're more likely to see some of those kind of weapons as opposed to those abilities. More of your Annihilators, your Tempests even for the frags. We are going to be seeing Heatwave picked up actually by Josh. Niall with the response, picking up a Tempest for himself. I'm kind of more interested towards the other side of the spectrum, maybe even an active camo. Oh, one Vortex does provide it for us. This makes sense to you so far, Phil?
So far, so good. Heatwave, I wouldn't have thought I would have seen it. However, it can be obviously very lethal in stopping, like preventing maybe a carry capture. Kinetic armor is a given, that active camo as well. Again, Bant's very much like your Marquee B. And your methods from the previous game is that Anchor, is that assault rifle player, trying to get those score streaks probably, as well as Zerg on the other side. Again, it's going to be... I'd love seeing this active camo. I mean, we always get excited when they just, like, pop it and they all go invisible. It's like, oh, what's he going to do? What's he going to do?
Yeah, I'm guilty of just making a lot of noise when I see it. But hopefully we'll be treated to something special with this one. Scythe on either side as well. It is almost entirely a mirror matchup. Of course, just that Tempest Heatwave swapped out. And, I mean, yeah, you know what? You've actually proven a point there. I was looking at Heatwave with an eyebrow raised. But in terms of defending that, like, can you imagine, like, if you're 1v1 and you don't feel like you can take that, you know, or rather, you know, against all odds, and you need to defend, a quick Heatwave can buy you the time, but also buy you the frags necessary to get that drone out of enemy control. It's
an interesting one. It's an interesting pick for Josh for sure, because he's your guy to score points, you know, not to be defending. So maybe he's going to do something that I'm not used to. Maybe he's going to kind of run through a building and just use it and keep running. You know, just stun them and go, see you later, I'm out of here, I'm scoring points, then you can kill me. But we'll have to wait and see. But everything else to me seems very, very standard. Your kinetic armor, I think we're not yet to see a map without kinetic armor on either side, so very, very strong.
Very, very strong and very, very kind of impressive when used correctly. Like, you can just, I mean, hardpoint, you can break hills. With this one, if you get that drone, you can do these kind of mad solo runs, popping kinetic armor and taking risks. I do think, especially when you've got the kinetic armor, if you pop it and slide, you're even less likely to be headshotted. Yeah,
you just kind of do it all at once. You press every button on your controller, and you just like, and you slide in, and it's kind of like one of those film moments where you're sliding through, and as you go through, you stun everyone, and you're still sliding like you're really looking cool.
Just looking really cool.
Maybe with dual pistols.
Oh, I like that.
Are you not allowed? No, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm going to be watching Josh. I'm going to be spectating him to see what he can do with the Heat Wave. We'll see something big as always. But Shane on the other side with the active camo.
All right.
See whether you can crawl back into this game. Obviously 2-0 down. Splice looking hot here. I thought this would be maybe go 1-1, 2-2, but it looks like it's edging towards the Splice boys.
Yeah, we did suggest, and it felt like the kind of dialogue we kind of set up for this matchup was this isn't going to be the same as that Giants game. However, currently we're experiencing a really strong Splice. They've come out of the gate fighting and coming out of the gate kind of incredibly potent, it seems, especially in those first 2 games. Good to see that comeback on Search and Destroy. And now we dive into our third. It's best of 5. We haven't even seen Capture the Flag, Evac, or Search and Destroy Hunted. Those would be the 4th and 5th in the series. So we have to go ahead and just kind of set our sights on this one. Let's see if TCM can kind of knock Splice down a peg or 2. As we are going to be diving straight back into this one. The drone is loose, and let's have a little look about how these 2 teams plan to clash towards middle.
Yeah, so Josh, as the M8 was protected, I can see this game going only one way, the battle of the assault rifles. That drone obviously in the middle. For you guys at home, it is an unlimited score. It can go up to anything. You've got the 5 minutes on the clock. Obviously the teams will swap sides at either side. Josh already heating up. Does get taken down as I say that.
Nice angle though from Zerg, enables him to catch them before Josh even has a chance to see him. Quick exchange in middle. Bran comes out on top of that one. That's important. As you can see, 2 members from Splice charging on the left-hand side long. Does look like we're going to be seeing a bit of a push for middle control, but Vortex is shut down again by Bran. Bran seems to be the man at this point. Goes for the pass. Going to be throwing that one out before being eliminated, but just tries to get that as far away from Dodge as possible. Get it towards his teammate. His teammate, Nile, is not doing too bad himself.
Yeah, that was almost like a manual pass. You know, the drone has been played in a 1-point play. That was made by the boys from TCM. It was Zerg. He gets taken down, but all the points going in their favor at the moment. Minute gone on the clock. Bran just locking this down. These were the middle stairs that I'm talking about, the sandbags, the power point, if you like, as he gets taken down from behind. Only Zerg is alive. Does get some shots down, but is going to be under fire, having to back away here. Back to base.
Let's see then. I mean, it feels like that time has kind of elapsed quite quickly already. You know, 3 minutes 30 on the clock. Just the 1 point. Stark contrast to what we saw in the past. Now, though, MR6 isn't going to stop him. It is. In fact, Nile does one better with his own pistol. From the behind, though, isn't going to be enough. Vortex just doing damage, tickling them with that VMP. Now you have to kind of wonder when this stalemate is going to be broken already. Blood is potentially being drawn. Vortex so damn low in this very, very easy to spray barn. Finally, Zerg connects it, and another sidearm frag for them as we're about to reach that 3-minute mark, and still 1-0. This is a very different kind of environment.
Yeah. Really, really different. Everyone kind of battling for this kind of middle ground, if you like. TCM getting the better of them. Bance is trying to answer back here with himself. We know he's a slayer, but Bran shutting him down once again. 6-4. And again, we see this kind of almost manual pass. He's just getting away from his team. Does get taken down in the back. Let's see what Shane's doing.
Oh, they're resetting it. I was getting excited. They basically passed it out of Dodge, got away from middle because it's so hard just to gain drone control and then try and push it back. But instead, they've actually thrown it out. I said to reset it, but it still hasn't gone.
Yeah, Shane just trying to get a bit more further up in the map. Hawkeye shutting him down with that RK5, but Nile answering back, does have the Tempest in his back pocket. I wouldn't have thought he would pull it out just yet as Josh answers back. But again, we see this drone almost like a pivotal part of this map where, you know, everyone's kind of just edging around, but no one's making that, like, that push, that kind of gutsy move. As I say that, the ball... drone is picked up
as well. You're falling into my
by Bance. Can he level things up? No, he gets shut down. Bran, another 2-piece there to his name. Let's see what he's doing as he unlocks the kinetic armor.
Oh, he's got the armor and the drone. Everything's starting to correlate and come up good for TCM. They've got 4 players to dispatch of before they even dream of getting that uplink. First, looks like he's going to choose a route, one or the other. He actually opts for the safest route. Now through middle, his teammate needs to keep him safe, and he's going to do just that. Nile with a double! That could not be more important. Now just 2 stand between him and potential 2 points. Heatwave comes out. He's going for it. He's just going to go for the second. Beautiful stuff for TCM, and Nile is going to be MVP for that. Well, fraction of a moment. There you go. Those 2 frags keeps his teammate safe and enables a second point accumulated for TCM.
And that heat wave we saw, it was from Josh. He was sat on the edge of that house and he was just waiting for them to come around to just heat wave and stun and stop and just say no. You know, it was about that defense that we were talking about, and it was implemented so well, but it was just a little bit too late and done on the wrong person. As we jump on board still with Zerg, somehow still alive, only a minute left to go. Pops out the HC car.
and loses the HC card. That was the end of that tale. Instead, though, we have to turn our attention to the last 60 seconds. For just a fraction of a second, Vortex did have that drone. He's actually going to go for a little bit of a response. What's going on? The active camo enables the equalizer. We asked for an active camo play, and he delivers stealthily, picking up 2 for Splice. And it felt like such hard work to see those 2 for TCM. And in the blink of an eye, in the press of an active camo, we see the second. That could have potentially been a third as well. It was Bance who had the audacity to just walk up and chuck it. Didn't quite manage to pick it up and find the third. Instead, though, 30 seconds left, and this all of a sudden is back to 2-2.
Yeah, Shane pushing through the min-map here. He's got the support of his team. All even Stevens now as Zerg and Brand pick up 1. Bance enters back, but the drone is in the hands of nobody currently as Shane changes that with 20 seconds left to go. Active camo is available. Is he going to use it?
Oh, this could be the most necessary response. 14 seconds. He goes for the melee. Not a second chance, though, as Hawkeye does shut that dream down. It is going to be 2-2 on the half. There's absolutely 0 chance. I'm saying that. Hang on a second. Bance, what's your plan here? 3, 2, 1. Don't you dare chuck it. They did. It didn't happen, though. 2-2. And it is going to be level playing field coming into the second half.
Yeah, really, really well played. We said it would be even. It has been a great match so far. Bance on the kill cam basically chose his teammate in deep water there. He just kind of got rid of it.
Baited him, I think is the word.
I think it was almost like, look, you have the drone. I will get your back. I will make the kill. And he did exactly that. Drone wasn't played in. Stops at 2-2. Swapping sides, of course, now. You know, even the scoreboard, it's looking very, very standard, very, very even. You see now 16 kills to his name. Let's see what he's doing. Does have that Tempest available, though. Edging up this left-hand side of the map. Again, this is where no one's going to make particular plays for the drone straight away. It's all about the slaying.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the point you made, and it's just been kind of reinforced by the boys of TCM, is you get those opening frags, and then you make the push. 3 frags, and all of a sudden, they're going for the push. He does have Kinetic Armor. This feels like a potential 2-pointer. TCM are there. He's getting sprayed from every direction. Kinetic Armor popped. Not going to happen. Vortex does enough damage. He finds a second as well, and all of a sudden, the boot is on the other foot. TCM, 1 man left, and they go for the reset.
Yeah, and in fact, he's going to throw that out of bounds. Vortex making the save. But for me, you know, the kinetic armor was popped up, and he would have made that play if it wasn't for the counter of the Scythe. The Scythe just kind of shuts down the kinetic armor, almost laughs in the face of kinetic armor and says, you can put whatever you want up. I'm still going to make the kill. Bance makes a big 3-piece, though, gets taken down. Now, we see still 11 level playing field here, Machine. Everything to play for. Yeah, and
look at this mid-control that's been established by, I was going to say Josh and Co, but Hawkeye does kind of reinforce that with the trade. He's going to find another one as well. Hawkeye making a big play for himself. He's going to be trying to clear this one out. Bance is going to be trying to make the pass to Vortex. This could be another one for Splice. This is gorgeous stuff as he's taken the long route. It's going to cost him his life, though, but the drone is still loose. Zerg with a double. This is incredible. It all comes down to Bance then for Splice. He's gone as well, and TCM, a successful defense.
Yeah, so close yet so far away. They opted to go right round the back. Josh playing very, very sneakily. It didn't pay off for them, though. Josh is going to pick up one as Hawkeye teammate does take one down as well. Will Josh find the second? He knows he's in here just with the lack of kind of boost. Does take the second. Is going to get taken down by Brant again in those power positions. These mill sandbag stairs are very vital to the victory of this map.
H60 is available for Nile as well. See how much that kind of comes into play in the remaining 3 minutes. Plenty of time for him to consider his options with that one. Both offensive or defensive. 2 options to that score streak. Not going to happen, though, as Bance does accumulate another kill. Brand in response, not a second. Oh, man, he's filthy with the M8. Got for a fresh magazine to continue this push out. I know just in the nick of time, the drone does go ahead and reset. MR6 isn't going to be enough, and still 2-2, and it just feels like a complete dead tie in this middle. Sometimes TCM have control. As soon as they kind of breach that boundary, they're shut down.
Yeah, like you said, complete tie. Very, very equally matched teams. Vortex gets the drone, though. I think that might have been an interception, actually. Has this active camo, but he's so far in his own base, it's going to take a lot to push out the boys from TCM. But if he can manage to do so, this could be potentially the last map of the series. Can they close it out like a 3-0? Is going to go for this 1-point play, uses the active camo. Is he going to make it? No, he doesn't. He slowly drifts past. The drone in dangerous territory.
And those are the things you need to line up. Just go play against bots, do that 6, 7, 8 times, and really get that lineup perfectly so you can guarantee you've got your camo, you're in that position, that's a guaranteed 1 point. Instead, though, we see ourselves still at that dead heat with just 2 minutes to spare. Bance has got a very offensive frag onto Shane, though, and now we have to see just how fast that drone can kind of return to middle, and we can start to see how the remaining kind of, well, 120 seconds, I think, by the time this one gets back. does play out.
Exactly, 2-2. Vortex gets taken down. We just see such kind of a mirror match, if you like. You know, you've got Bance on one team trying to go up against the likes of Brand, Shane and Josh going head-to-head.
Oh, no.
And now you just see trade after trade, but the drone is not moving. Bance, again, such, you know, star quality, if you like, of a Call of Duty player, but it's just finalizing things. He needs his team to jump on that bandwagon with him.
Worried about his behind. Vortex kind of had the responsibility there, but Shane just kind of laughed in the face of danger. Now, 70 seconds, and it is one of the last chances. Heatwave used absolutely perfectly, implemented by Josh. He knows he needs to shut down Tempest. He does so. That could have very well been 4. Instead, it's going to be 2, and TCM leap into the lead with just 60 seconds left, with just chucking it in towards that uplink.
Oh, and the kinetic armor for Bran, not only making the throw, makes the 2 kills and the melee kill to shut things down. And the drone, again, is in the hands of Shane. Let's see what he can do as Zerg and Bran use those specialists to their capability.
Don't you dare! That's gorgeous stuff! Shane just sneaks right behind enemy lines and picks himself up too, and TCM right down to the wire. The final 60 seconds, and all of a sudden they have a flurry of 3 points.
Yeah, and that was all Bran for me. Yes, Shane picked it up in the middle, but Bran with that kinetic armor made such a vital 3-piece, just kind of lighting up that back left-hand side of the map. The drone does go in for a 3-point play. Could we see a miracle? Can a 2-point play be made in the next 15 seconds?
And the answer to that will be provided right now. It is retrieved. It is going to be picked up by Vortex. It comes down to this. What can you do? 10 seconds. He knows he can't throw it. He has to get it in, but fortunately Zerg saves the day. 2 frags have never been so important so far here. And that's going to be the final 2 seconds, and that's going to be a step in the right direction. TCM, the Shane +3, has gone ahead and picked this one up and taken us into a map we haven't ventured into yet.
Yeah, we're going into something new. Map number 4, but again, TCM proving they can come from behind. They really kind of stood their ground. And on that last play there, Vortex, if he just made it around that corner, I think he was clear through to make that 2-pointer. Whether he had the time, that's another question. You know, that's another kind of...
maths.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't ready for that kind of thing. I was too focused on the other 23,000 things happening in the game.
Welcome to Black Ops 3.
Welcome to Black Ops 3 indeed. TCM, though, taking things away. 17-25 for Josh. Not the best of games, but of course, such a significant search and destroy previous to that. He seems to be a little bit inconsistent at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, I make jokes. I say Shane +3. That's complete nonsense, of course. You have to remember, guys, before I get kind of death threats, truly impressive stuff from TCM. The fact that they can kind of have that showing against Splice, a team that have always been kind of lingering towards the higher echelons, especially of like European, even if not UK Call of Duty. So it's great to see that they've already started challenge, and on uplink of all game modes, a game mode that both me and you have kind of speculated that is lesser practiced. And so if you want to start picking up wins, you start getting good at uplink.
Yeah.
You get good at search and destroy, you get good at uplink, and all of a sudden you've got 3 good game types out of 5.
And that's it. You know, people say, I mean, the notorious Call of Duty saying is search and destroy wins championships, primarily because there's 2 out of the 5. You know, it's 40% of your game. If you can be a search and destroy team and luckily pick up a respawn, that's kind of the norm. But if you can be an uplink team and not lose an uplink, you know, steal one of the first couple of maps, I mean, we're stating the obvious here. Get good at Uplink and Call of Duty and you might win.
Get good at Call of Duty and you're going to win the COD World League.
But it's something for players which have focused on kind of one game mode, if you like. Uplink is a game changer. It's map number 3. You know, it's going from 2-1 to being back in the game, fighting your way through. And as you kind of, like you said, jokingly said, Shane +3. Shane was actually maybe the detriment, if you like, of that team 100%. In that map, whilst, you know, the rest of TCM came together and pulled him through. Great victory, though. Yeah, big victory from TCM. And now we have to set our sights on the remaining 2. Capture the flag on evac will be our next one. And that kind of poses a couple of interesting kind of thoughts surrounding this one. First, not only the map, but the mode as well. Evac, in my book, is always going to be the map with the most kind of intriguing routes. Lots of safe routes, lots of risky kind of risk-reward balancing out. And putting it on Capture the Flag, that just excites me. Oh, yeah, and I can understand why, Alex, because you can pick up a flag, you can literally run around the side of this map. So there's so many wall runs. The new kind of meta, if you like, of Call of Duty coming into this game is this wall running, you know, and for a Capture the Flag to get away from a teammate, just be like, yeah, I'm just popping off the side of this wall, see you in a second. But then you implement things like overdrive, and it all comes together, and this is where the brains of the likes of the Shanes, if you like, Shane, brain, I'm rhyming here, you know, poet and I didn't know it, however, it all comes together in one. There's so many things that go into a game like this. You can't just think, oh, I'm going to pop this gun on and kill a few people. There's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It comes down to movement. If some people have perfected that movement, we are going to be seeing these kind of the great and the incredible movements separated there. And I'm a big sucker for that in general. Call of Duty's always been about, having great movement. And it's going to be even more accentuated by the fact that we have these, uplink capture the flag, where you can, not only you're fragging, you've already said it comes down to slaying, but also having someone with that kind of proficiency and getting to the objective.
Yeah.
That's what excites me. I'm looking forward to seeing if we can see any kind of incredible runs. I'm going to come back to Gun Elite. Don't kill me. It was mind-boggling.
Spectacular, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, like, capture the flag, sometimes seen as quite a passive game type where you will see players kind of retract after picking up early points. And you just saw in what was about 2 minutes of gameplay, a man defy all odds, find frags, run the flag. It was breathtaking, and it's something that's going to stay with me for a while. So don't hate me too much for loving capture the flag and for loving what Gun Elite did in it.
And I think you touched on it just there. Capture the flag can be very frowned upon sometimes because it's defensive.
Yeah.
But for me, that's just a new way of playing Call of Duty. Hardpoint, very aggressive, search and destroy, very kind of tactical.
Yeah.
For me, capture the flag is very patient. You've got to kind of bide your time. Yes, you'll respawn, but we see a respawn delay in this game, which basically means if you go down, you're costing your team a lot of time in a certain spot. If you're holding a spot and you die, that spot is completely open for 5-10 seconds maybe. So capture the flag it's a good one to watch. However, I love it when it comes down to those like last 25 seconds. One's got the flag on his back, he's running. Can he make it? Can he not? Does he have the specialist to back it up? But we're going to guide you through it. Of course, capture the flag is a fan favorite sometimes across many Call of Duties, going back a long time now. But for me, when you implement it with score streaks, it just gets even more exciting.
Absolutely, and we're going to be keeping our eyes on score streaks because you already highlighted that, infection, uplink was where we usually sometimes see a bit more of the score streaks, even more so now capture the flag, where you can just change the pace of a game just by pressing one button. Yeah,
and of course, if you do capture a flag, one thing that's interesting to know, if you capture the flag and you have it with you, if you make a kill with the flag on your back, you get double points. So if you get the flag and make maybe a double kill, you can jump up those score streaks. You can maybe grab a HC car or something like that, and it can change the game, And one thing that's interesting on capture the flag is the different score streaks you'll see.
So it's almost like you're rocking combat focus all the time when you've got the back, the flag on your back. I like that. All right. So again, that's another specialist we have not seen too much of.
Yeah, something like you may not see too much of, but
more for the pub stomping. But
more for me and my grind to level 1000.
Yeah, other than those a few individuals that have somehow achieved that already. But anyway, let's go ahead. It's ban and protect time, guys. Let's load on in and have a look how this fourth map in its best of 5 series. Capture the flag on evac. On the left-hand side, you will see Splice, TCM on the right. And no surprises there. Finally, the Vespa retakes its spot at the bottom left corner of that ban and protect.
It's one of those things when you see it kind of phased out in a monitor where you turn it off and it's still there. I can see it. I can see it in my head right now.
In your dreams.
Interesting one, though. Overdrive. It was going to be a 50-50 on the ban and protect here. Nile opts to take it out of the game as Josh and Shane have already used those on weapons. Now we see Vortex thinking a little bit about it, taking the XR2. So, assault rifles really taking a hit here early on.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of intrigued by the kind of preference of an assault rifle ban, considering that this map strikes me as something that you can be very good with an SMG. You can just there's so many rush routes, so many different angles you can come from, and another assault rifle. Phil, you need to explain this to me.
Yeah, and you're going to see it from Josh, from Splice, Vortex, from TCA. Yeah, I was seeing if it was one team kind of banning out the lot, but it's not. It's a mixture of both. Manowar, again, it's just targeting these assault rifle players. Bans is going to be very limited maybe to the HVK. But for me, I'm in agreement with you. When you talk about evac, for me, you've got this middle point. You've got, every point has like a house or a closed kind of quarter combat area. So for me, that's where SMGs will excel. So for someone to kind of use your assault rifles, maybe they're the extra defensive plays. The ones right at the back behind the flag. What we call campers.
What we call campers.
Very, very effective in capture the flag.
Yeah, and it's got this kind of bad name, but dude, it's how you play the game. You play to win. There's 200,000 a stage here. You're not going to go ahead and do something for the viewers, are you? Still, we need to talk about this one. Splice, TCM, and it could very well go into a fifth map. This all comes down to TCM. The ball is in their court, quite literally. So we're going to have to see how they use this one.
Okay, now, let's see what they can do here. As just kind of touching on the specialist now, we've seen active camo either side, kinetic armor either side, and scythe. Only difference, Josh, he loves this heat wave, this fire break on all game types, it seems. But Niall opting for the Annihilator, that one-shot pistol. I call it the Tommy gun, and no, not the literal Tommy gun, but just Tommy from Millennium Gun. Because when he pulls it out, he gives the fans what they want.
So we need to address a scoring change. Basically, it seems that TCM, not only did they win that previous game, they're now sitting at 2-1, and that's because Splice, though they won the Search and Destroy, there was an issue regarding the rules, and so that's actually a forfeit. This is this is what it's all about. You have to make sure everything is kind of perfect. Yeah. And that's going to cost them. That's going to be sitting them at 2-1, and now Splice are at the disadvantage. Just as I was saying, the ball's in TCM's court. They have potential to win this game on Capture the Flag.
Yeah, a bit of a kick in the teeth. I've been there myself where you forfeited a map or you've done something wrong. However, we'll focus on the map in hand, of course. For you guys at home, TCM now in the lead 2-1. Can Splice fight their way back into this and make it a game 5? I'd love to see it. But TCM, again, like you said, the opportunity to close things out, to shut them down, and with the guys, it's Shane's speciality is capture the flag.
And this would be a huge W for them. I mean, just imagine it, like picking up a win so early on, their first game, their debut, both under the TCM flag, but also as a roster, with these changes, of course, getting rid of one of their members for Shane. This is all kind of a big test for them. And so far, they're passing with flying colors, sitting now 2-1. And let's have a little look what Capture the Flag holds for us, and for you guys at home as well. What are your expectations? Splice versus TCM. What does your kind of Call of Duty brain tell you how this one's going to play out? Of course, another map to follow will be Search and Destroy Hunted. If that influences your decision, do let us know though on the social media. Hashtag CWLPS4. A lot of letters and a cheeky number at the end. Head over to Twitter and let us know while we load on in to our 4th game in the series, Evac CTF.
Yeah, certainly going to be an interesting one. A game mode we've not seen yet. Some will dub this Shane's speciality. That is coming from me directly. I know what this guy can do when he picks up the flag. But he's got new players surrounding him, Niall, Bran, and Zerg. New group of guys, kind of being pushed into this kind of new spectrum of players, this league, this professional league now, something they probably didn't see themselves getting into, and other teams not being hit, the likes of Fabi.
Welcome to the beauty of online qualifiers, dude. It gives everybody, these open qualifiers enables absolutely anybody and their dog to have a go at trying to get into the Call of Duty World League, and they've done it, and now they're trying to, live up to that and currently holding the lead over Splice. There definitely is testament to that. But still, a couple of individuals from the side of TCM that really caught my eye. Shane aside, you said already he was kind of detriment in that uplink game. Bran and Zerg. Zerg got an incredible 2 frags that he really needed to in order to acquire those. If you remember correctly, it was Niall as well who picked up a 2-piece that really did save the day.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Josh, Bant, and Shane straight away picking up those kills in favor of Splice. We see this now. Splice will not want to go down without a fight. They've forfeited a map on Search and Destroy. They need to get back into this now. But Zerg, this is what I talked about, this assault rifle player. He will be at the back, so I'm going to jump on board with the complete opposite. It's none other than Shane.
Oh, he's got him as well. Catches the head of Josh as he falls. Bants with the MR6 does kind of end that story prematurely, and now already we're going to be seeing Brand go aggressive with that VMP. So we said already the SMGs are available, just the Vespa taken away from that category. And we are going to be seeing Brand run into trouble. Bants again with the MR6, and look at this run. We are going to be kind of keeping our eyes on Vortex as he's going to go ahead and glide on in, and already a first capture for Splice. Now the question is, do they turn up the heat? Or do they get a bit passive?
Yeah, things with Vortex, he's already got a couple of points under his name. He's getting a bit closer to his score streaks, of course, 200 for that capture. It looks like if just bringing the minimap up here, in fact, I'm going to put it straight away because Vortex is doing something very cheeky. He's going right around the side of the map, does get shut down. Shane knows him way too well as Shane falls off the map after making a big kill.
I think that was a kind of necessary risk to take, just to stop that run, to stop the kind of free walk onto the flag. Look at this control with the VMP, loses it towards the end there, a bit windy over in his side of things. And now 3.5 minutes. The Lightning Strike is available, as is the Heat Wave, and that's in the hands of Josh. This is glorious. If anyone gets kind of in close quarters with him, he hits the Heat Wave, keeps on running, keeps on trucking, and hang on a second, he's getting dangerously close. Someone needs to shut him down. Finally, we do see a man step up. It is Shane again, who seems to be having no problem in dealing with these objective runs.
Yeah, Vortex is going to put a second one in, but Bants was on a 7-kill streak. He was 7-0 as he does get taken down. He must have been close to this score, to his score streaks. I want to see if he got anything. Yes, he did. He got the Lightning Strike available.
And now he's going to use that kind of multi-purpose. Of course, it does have the availability of just giving you intel. You said you want to bring up the mini-map. Now so can Bance. As we're going to be seeing Frag struggle to be picked up. Shane with his Cuda is very prolific. We've seen him with the assault rifle. Now he's given us a lesson in the SMG. As Josh and Vortex are kind of trying to respond as best they can. Both flags then back at base, back to ground zero. And TCM with a bit of a mountain to climb.
Yeah,
finally doing it.
Hawkeye playing very sneakily, does pick up the flag and sneaks away, gets taken down, but Bance is going to make a massive play. We know he's the slayer of the team, and he's doing exactly that, but when he's called upon to get that flag, he's doing that too. He's got to have this all clear now, as you see in the minimap, all 4 red arrows being TCM. You know, it's not looking good for them in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, very happy to see as well just how aggressive Splice are playing this. They just want to extend that lead. There's a game of 2 halves, and while they are being able to pick up these flags, they want to get it as fast as humanly possible. 2 minutes then on the side as they are going to be trying their best to try and equalize. TCM so far have had basically control of the flag for about 10 seconds combined, I'd say. Yeah. It was just Hawkeye who made a little bit of a run, but it's all been Splice so far in my book.
Yeah, Splice has been very dominant, and for me, it's been this left-hand side, this push through this house, this top glass area, and Josh is doing exactly what I'm saying. One has wall run to the side. He's been taken down. Josh knows it, but he is behind enemy lines. Can he pick off that player just going at the back? He knows he will challenge him. Is he going to get away? He's got the support of his teammate. Hawkeye picks it up, and Josh, wow, trusts his teammate to get that, and he does it perfectly.
And he's going to go ahead and try and teach Vortex how to move properly. He's going to be using it on the other side of things. It isn't going to save him, though, from that player just behind the flower beds. Needs to check his corners, but Vortex needs to babysit him. Never mind, Heatwave saves the day, as does his teammate just right behind him. They would have been able to scoop that flag up as a bit of a fail-safe, but this looks like it's going to be 4. As the bomb is... Oh, excuse me, the flag. Damn you, vocabulary. Is going to be actually still. I thought it was going to be returned. Instead, though, we are going to be seeing finally TCM keep hold of this one.
Yeah, Now's managed to pull away with that. And really importantly, if Josh does secure this flag capture, he'll probably unlock the HC maybe along with that lightning strike available. Probably be very, very close to it. However, I've got to flick on board if I'm quick enough. Where are you, Hawkeye? He is here. I was just in time. Doesn't make the kill. Niall doing everything he can. He's got to be weak, but he's all alone. Yeah. Now, Bran sneaking around the back. TCM, can he make it?
The hunt, and it's gorgeous. This is going to be the return and the necessary cap you would expect from Niall. He's just about to walk that one in, and TCM find themselves a step in the right direction. It's a whole lot better than 3-0. 25 seconds does suggest that that's going to be all she wrote in that first half. I say that. Frag did occur. It was between Bance and Bran. It's most definitely going to be the first half done and dusted. Lots of specialists starting to glow, all pretty in yellow coming into that second half. Just a couple of frags exchanged then, but still, Splice 3, TCM 1.
Yeah, 5 seconds left to go, and this is where we see those shots fired. I mean, Josh has just been told that he's lost the search and destroy on rules. I think I know Josh, and he gets very heated sometimes, so he's a vocal player, but of course we cannot hear him right now, so he's expressing everything in what we can see, putting a few extra bullets
We can actually see this. Here we go. You get to see it in slow-mo. So he is dead now. And he stops firing now. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. He picked it up, though, and that's going to be a real solid start for the boys at Splice.
Yeah, mind games all the way. Could we see a game number 5? If it continues the way it does, or the way it is here, we will. Wow, after 5 minutes, Zerg only popping a 1 kill.
Wow.
Not something you want to be seeing, but only 6 deaths. For me, he's a defensive player. He's doing what his job, but you'd think he'd have more kills on the board.
Yeah, I mean, he's been where he needs to be, and look at Vortex go, taking the long route. He's going to come into contact with 1, though, and Zerg laughs at him. That's his job done as he doubles his score and then goes down for a 7th death. Now Josh on the run with the Cuda does have his Heatwave, and we saw just how powerful that can be when on the run.
Yeah, when he's on the run, like you said as well, it's almost a perfect opportunity if you're getting shot just to kind of, you know, just kind of use your Heatwave. He's got to see another. That's 200. Does use the Heatwave, and you can see what it does to a player. I'm not actually going to change over. Now I am. But you can see what it does to a player. It literally stops them straight in their steps. And see what Vortex can do here as the flag is being taken away. Is going to be put in for another capture on TCM. That's 3-2. Everyone I was flicking onto seemed to have died. Let's see what Shane can do.
That's called the Observer's Curse, quite similar to the Caster's Curse, where if you mention a player's doing well, all of a sudden things change for the worse. Now, though, Niall did find the head of Bance, and I mean, I think you can see that graffiti in front of Niall. That's kind of exactly what he's thinking. Help needed. He wants to try and make a play here, but it doesn't look like he's got too much backup. The rest of his team are still hanging out towards that flag. 3 minutes 40. There's so much time to play with, and you don't want to kind of get ants in your pants and get a little rushy. Instead, though, we are just going to be seeing these kind of 1-for-1s, these trade kills that do mean kind of relatively little unless they're followed up by an act of force. And so far, you can see Vortex is about to get swarmed.
Yeah, TCM pushing forward after making 2 really important kills in their base. Seems to push forward, but not into the enemies of Splice. They've just kind of taken a step back now, gets taken down. Shane answering back as well. 14 kills to his name, top fragging on TCM. Something you wouldn't normally see, but really doing everything just to kind of keep his team in the game.
Oh, Zerg with the side, cutting things fine as well. As soon as he disappeared around that corner, that could have been a big run. But Bance shut down, now sleeping with the fishes, and he's going to potentially find a second one here as he just hold that angle.
Yeah, just taking his time. I mean, he only had 2 kills to his name when he popped this scythe. Something which, you know, will eventually build in time for you guys at home. You know, these specialists aren't all based on kills. It is based on time as well. Zerg doing everything he can to defend, but no, Splice are going to take him down. This is where the pull comes in. Bance needs to help his teammate Josh, using that heat wave once again, and he's off and away with this flag. And I was going to say the only man to save him would be Shane, but he has been taken down.
He didn't opt for the risk. He didn't want to take the safe route. That's because, of course, he knew that the frags had come in, and he knew the enemies were nowhere near. This is going to be another one for Splice as they start to, again, increase that gap between themselves and their opponents. TCM now 2, Splice 4.
Yeah, and of course, those score streaks, going to be interesting to see if Josh uses those and when he does. But he's just going on fire right now. Has that Hellstorm, going to be a preventative of, yeah, going to be a preventative of the kind of the flag loss, if you like. But wow, Vortex, he's running a bit low for my liking. He's got to be a goner. Is he going to survive? No. That's something that I would do in a public game because I am not as good as these guys. But Josh, just playing defensive, going to flick on board with someone else. Bance on the aggressive side of things. TCM, no, you can see that line being pushed up.
Yeah, now Splice hungry for a 5th, it seems. They still have plenty of time to do so. Instead, though, you can actually see Bance on the hunt for Zerg. He knows what Zerg's been up to. He knows he's been that kind of constant, like, defensive sentinel. Instead, though, change of plan. Looks like Zerg's gone on the offensive, and that's going to be a free flag for Bance, as there was absolutely no one there to greet Bance on the kind of defensive side for TCM, and instead you can see Zerg was actually meeting his demise to Vortex. Vortex trying to watch this one go in. This is going to be a 5th, and Bance is the one to deliver it.
Yeah, once again, I mean, TCM, it was kind of that moment in time in Capture the Flag where you think, I can't give this up, I can't go back, we've got to go literally, we've got to give them everything. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Oh, Bance putting a few extra bullets in Shane. Josh using his score streaks. Let's see if he's going to be using the lightning. Yes, he is. He'll be placing that down, raining fire amongst the guys of TCM. And surely with only a minute left and the flag again in favor of Splice, we could be seeing a game number 5.
Most definitely we could, as this is kind of giving us a little taste of how this one's going to play out. I don't think TCM can really make the numbers up, and it does look like Hawkey's going to go ahead and really affirm a 5th map. We are going to the full series, folks. 6-2. TCM, doesn't matter how many frags you accumulate now, 30 seconds, and this is as good as over. Active camo in the hands of Vortex could very well finish in style. He's going to go ahead and try and catch one in the air. It was a bit tough. What he does eventually swat to Zerg as he's flying free. 24 seconds, though, and Shane's going to go ahead and catch a Hellstorm as Josh is just getting rid of those score streaks. You know, wants to get that KD up. And, I mean, talking of KD, look at these numbers. 21 for Hawkey, 25 for Vortex. Excuse me, for Josh. He's the one with the Annihilator, and he's just picking up frag after frag with this Kuda. He keeps on going. He's lining them up, and he is a big part about how that lead kind of accumulated.
Yeah, and for me, it's interesting to look at that scoreboard. You pointed out, I'm going to bring it up here. Vortex had 7 kills, 15 deaths. Some may say that's, you know, not a very good game, but he's got 2 captures to his name on the capture the flag, of course, very, very important. And doing everything that he needs to do. Josh and Hawkey have kind of slayed everyone out, Bance included, and Vortex really, I mean, even the other captures, he probably instigated them. He probably started them, ran them back, and we saw Bance picking up one, didn't he? You know, he just kind of...
that was more of an afterthought for Bance. That was more of a, oh, the flag's loose, you've done all the hard work, let me finish that.
Yeah.
I think you're right. And I do think that, you know, scoreboards never really tell the whole story. And that's why we're in these seats, is so that we can make that story a little more clear. That most definitely was not kind of poor fragging. That was not his job. You know, slaying, it can be done by others. It's 4 people in a team. And it was great to see that flag run could be so successful. And I mean, 6-1, that's a whole lot of flag running to see on a Capture the Flag game. And I'm really kind of ecstatic to see already shape starting and cogs starting to turn for Capture the Flag and people starting to develop. This is what I'm most excited for. Change and kind of development in the meta.
Yeah, Capture the Flag, notoriously, we see kind of 1-0s, 1-alls, 2-1s, very kind of static gameplay, if you like. But the last 3 that I've watched have been kind of fantastic to watch. You know, either dominant ones, you know, comebacks, if you like. And I think it's all down to the implementation of, like, specialists and score streaks. You know, they changed the game completely. It's not just a run-and-gun game mode anymore. It's, you know, it's tactical. It's like you search and destroy, if you like. And, of course, yes, we've finished that, but now... game number 5.
And it all comes down to this. That's the last one I'm going to use, the last cliched kind of caster thing. It all comes down to this, folks. But it is. It's search and destroy. It's hunted. And going to be seeing just how much these teams want it. 2 for 2 now. Of course, you have to remember that due to a change in the rules, we are going to have to see that victory go the way of TCM. We wouldn't be seeing this 5th map otherwise, and now it's their chance to really redeem themselves and prove their worth. TCM, you've come all this way. Let's see if you can best the big dogs of Splice. And also, on the terms of Splice, you've just seen your teammates Infused start strong. Now you want your opportunity to do so. Yeah,
and technically, Splice, they've won 3 games. They're probably thinking, let's finish this. If we lose this, that's going to be, a big upset for them, because getting the rules wrong is another thing, but losing a series over it, that's game changing. So much money on the line. However, Hunted is going to be the map. Lovely scenery in this one. I like casting over this. But Search and Destroy, 6 rounds, 5-second plant and 7.5 timer. To defuse. Of course, only 1 life, so important to stay alive. Fan favorite Search and Destroy will be played twice in a series, and of course, comes down to the wire. This technically could go, last map. I'm feeling a 5-5 on this one.
Oh, don't get me started.
And I can see like a clutch coming up maybe from Shane, killing Josh at the last minute, getting his own back.
Oh, and then he starts shooting the body. Oh, okay, no. We're getting excited. That could very well be. We can all hope. That could become a reality, and I most definitely kind of am counting on it now, because we've definitely kind of been treated to a bit of a Call of Duty delight very early on in these games. Of course, we've got 3 more coming up after this one. So, don't forget that, guys. There's a lot more Call of Duty after this one, but already game 2, and we're going into a 5th map. It's going to be Search and Destroy on Hunted, no less. And this is a map which has this kind of provides a whole kind of plethora of different, not only routes, but kind of you've got a balance between the SMG kind of plays, but also I mean you could even push it for long AR play with a Sheev, or even a sniper come into play. Yeah, you've got kind of the differences in weapons, but also like the difference in terrain. You're going to see the water as well. You're going to see, Aquamen swimming away. I love to get involved in that as well, but it's actually used so well. We've seen in the I'm going to be very, very specific here, and a few of you guys may know, in the NA qualifiers online, a certain moment where he was kind of swimming away and he used glitch, which was obviously one of the specialists, and he just went straight back in a building, completely threw him off, and the guys in the water like, where's he gone? It's a game changer, but you're going to see different types of levels, wall running. I want to see some kind of water one-on-ones as well, but it can be used very, very well. And another point I want to raise about this map in particular is that B site. It's so enclosed and it feels very difficult to both attack and defend. Like, I'm not sure who it favors, because you're so vulnerable to nades, but you're also, and you feel like you're all in this kind of tight spot where no one's going to get you, and then all of it suddenly you realize there's a huge body of water underneath you where there's so many different like angles and speed. Let me try again. Speedy men just appearing out of the water, like literally, like you're holding one tight angle, and all of a sudden there's like 3 other angles you have to watch. That's it. They can come through a wall, run through the waterfall, they can jump out of the water, and it's all going to come down to, I think this is going to be the important one for protect and ban. If someone was to say ban a trophy system and ban flat jacket, hang on a second, that's when the people at B become very, very vulnerable. Your grenades seem overpowered, and I think that's where kind of the mind games will come into play. But there's a lot to think about. People don't want to be using weapons. People want to be banning specialists. You can't ban them all. You've only got 1 each. And that's the kind of, like, those are the kind of thoughts that I really want to see kind of increase, like, the amount of them, because it's such an interesting idea, and I feel like we see an awful lot of it, especially when we saw like the initial qualifiers. Lots of people were experimenting with how you want to ban and protect, and kind of going for some more kind of outlandish bans. Into this one, it does feel quite bread and butter right now. We're seeing the rifles people consider kind of unbalanced. They'll just be like, no, we don't want to see the face melting Vespa, blah, blah, blah. If you're trying to change it on its head, be like, okay, we'll accept they'll have a strong SMG, but they'll have no flak jacket, and they're going to have to defend B somehow. Like, just throw a spanner in the works like that. That's something I'm very excited for, and I don't think it's going to happen necessarily, but later down the timeline, I can really expect to see that increase. Yeah. A few weeks into it, we may see some certain strats on certain maps, very, very specific, and that's how I think Call of Duty needs to go. I think these teams to be very specific. If I was still playing, I'd be like, right, Hunted, if it comes up, I want to target, our team. We can let them, ban and protect anything they want. If the Vesper is okay, we'll still use it, but let's go for a strong B push. We'll work out a way of defending it without flat jacket and, say, trophy systems. We'll do a full flank. Like a full flank, yeah exactly.
But they'll be completely thrown off guard because they won't have practiced it. One thing that I loved about Infused is they went a whole week, I believe, playing without stock. Because I love that. Then they just went into a game, they banned stock, and they were used to it, but no one else was, and they were just dominating throughout. However, getting straight into it, all our predictions, all our crazy thoughts have been thrown out the window, and it is back to basics.
It could not be any more different. Basically, these guys are going to be playing in the Stone Age, as every weapon you'd expect has been taken away, and more. Man of War taken away quite early, surprisingly, alongside the Shiva. I didn't even catch those last ones. I was too hung up on the assault rifles, but I'm hoping you did, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, it was assault rifles getting taken away. We saw Overkill taken away there. Vespers taken away.
Okay, Overkill.
But
that's interesting.
for me, you know, snipers are still available. All the perks, all the specialists are still available. Very, very specific bans for these guys. But again, I will see a Vesper one day.
You will?
Yeah.
I believe it.
In fact, it was protected. We've already seen it. Forget it.
We did see it once.
Moving swiftly on.
There we go. Phil has put his foot in it, but otherwise, it's 2 overdrives. Psychosis and Heatwave are going to be your main variants. I expect those last picks are going to be active camo and kinetic armor on either side of things, and it looks like I may very well have been correct, but we have to still wait to see what Hawkey's got. No, he's thrown a spanner into the works with a Heatwave. That's double Heatwave, and for the first time, I believe, Josh is not the one wielding it. He's gone for overdrive.
Yeah, and Josh has chosen that really. Previous to Hawkey, you know, he's got there first. They'll be talking in game. They'll be deciding which ones they want. Maybe Josh has got something up his sleeve. He's a very much aggressive player, as I've said time and time again. And on Search and Destroy, especially like that B-bomb site, if you can time your overdrive, if you can use it at the right time, you can get into places a lot quicker than they expect. You know, they can be sat there pre-aiming, and you can already be in the face of the enemy. So really, really interesting pick, but glad to see Hawkey pick up the Heatwave.
Yeah, I'm excited as well to see just how much that Psychosis plays into it. We saw kind of glimmers of it, both in that kind of Search and Destroy we saw in the previous round. I think that was over on Breach, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. So Psychosis is going to be the one to kind of keep your eye on, see what Vortex can do with that. He's the only one of his kind. He's unique. He's a special snowflake, and we'll be seeing what he can do for Splice with that Psychosis.
Okay. Another point that I would say, Overdrive, Heatwave, very standard. We've seen it time and time again, kinetic armor on either side. One thing I would say is Splice haven't chose it. Splice have said, you know, we'll go for something different. They've gone for, you know, this Psychosis and this active camo kind of duo ship, if you like. But I love the active camo, especially in Search and Destroy, where your life is, you literally, you've only got one.
How many times have you been playing previous Call of Duty titles and be like, if I could just disappear right now, right?
Like, yeah, that's literally I planted the bomb, let me just disappear for a second whilst I run away.
If I could just be like invisible for like a short period of time. No, hang on a second, you can. Welcome to active camo, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing some incredible plays with it. I feel like it's in the same vein as Glitch. Glitch is something I think you can really, like, that will, when used correctly, make the most outstanding like clutch situations plays. You can just do so much with it in so many different ways. You can use it offensively, defensively, and I love that about it.
And it all comes down to, and I love it when, especially if it's used in a one-on-one. I love it when, say, you've got one guy running around with Psychosis and one with Glitch, and you know, you see a gunfight, everyone runs out, someone glitches away, the drones carry on running, it all gets kind of like too much to handle. But it's great when you see kind of clutches with them, you know, 1v2s with a heat wave or active camo sneaky plays. We can dream of these things, you know, Machine, we can, but we will have to wait and see. And I'm sure we will see them coming into the league and many weeks ahead. We've got so much Call of Duty to bring you. Of course, this is only game number 2 of 5 today. Now, map number 5.
Let's go. Search and Destroy time. It does quite literally come down to the first to 6. Both of these teams now neck and neck. Splice versus TCM. TCM, the new blood, the new names. You may not kind of recognize the majority of them. Zerg, Bran, Shane, and Nile. And on the side of Splice, house names bar 1. Hawkey, not Hawkey. Josh, Vortex, and Bats. We will be seeing how key Hawkey is, though, in this game.
Oh, I like it. And straight away, the wall run into B. Josh taking down one. Bran, very, very quick reactions to take him down. And Hawkey putting a few bullets into the team, enemy team, should I say. I was going to say teammates. But 3v3, all level, 1 minute to go. And
it is so condensed towards that side. We're talking about the B side. Look at it. It's an absolute brawl. Vortex has actually managed to take down his teammate there, just as you kind of prophesized. And now we're going to be seeing him escape. Vortex kind of on the hunt towards that B site. A couple of trophy systems there. He wants some free points, but instead he's got a different target in mind. It is going to be that bomb down to a 2v2, and he's going to go ahead and put the kind of defensive side into a bit of a time limit. 40 seconds now for them to keep that site back under their control. Zerg holding middle. This is nice. It kind of rules out that water side. He's going to get a frag as well. TCM taking leaps and bounds now. into retaking this site. 28 seconds. He's got to watch 2 angles. He knows he needs to change that. Needs to force this into a 1v1 as soon as possible. He's going for that. All kind of Phil dubbed it the wraparound.
The wraparound. It's the only way I can call it. I have no other strategy. However, if he can pick off just the diffuser, in fact, the 17 seconds is going to be very, very difficult. Not going to be able to pick him. He's going to see the first. Can he get the second? Yes, he does. And Splice has actually taken... I was confused whether he got the diffuse or not. That was the clutch. He's done it. I honestly thought he'd missed that. That is the luckiest thing I've seen in Call of Duty in a long time.
He's gonna be screaming. Vortex, it felt like everything went wrong. And so all of a sudden, someone's legs got in the way. And that's gonna be the first round on the board for his team. What on earth? TCM are gonna be shaking their heads. Everything pointed to that round going their way. But Vortex just steps it up somehow, some way. With a HVK, I'm a poet and I didn't know it, so I thought
I'm telling you now, it was the good old wraparound.
Yeah, the wraparound. This is the, I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's exactly what it is. Wrapping around towards that site, completely catching your opponents off guard, even if you miss your shots initially, but traded out early. That B site does look to be the primary focus of both teams' affection at this point.
So it's got to be, yeah, Vortex. He's on the full flank. If he goes any further, I will hop on board with him because he will be behind enemy lines 3v3. I'm going to go over to him now because he is coming right behind all of TCM. Shane, cool with his pants down there. 3v2. Let's see what TCM are doing to counter this. They seem to be panicking a little bit, knowing that Vortex is right behind them.
And also they have the HCXD as well, which means they have to kind of keep moving. They have to be well aware of that. Surely Checker's right. No, that's going to be a free frag for him. Hawkeye was holding the angle. Nile just trade it out, though, but that could be very well be too little, too late. Vortex and Bance then into a 1v2. Nile has to see if he can kind of take what Vortex started and run with it. He's going to come into contact with one, and actually it's going to come down to a bit of an angel. No, one of them, who is that? He's just completely, he's full out of dodge. He is not interested in that fight. Oh, but he's predicted this well. This is beautiful read, but not enough. Vortex wins the duel, and that's going to be a second for Splice.
Yeah, definitely Vortex's round. Made that initial kind of flank kill. Then he came back. He played this really, really well because he not only got away and gave his teammate time to back him up, but he made that kind of play. He kind of saw exactly what the enemy team was going to be doing, predicted it, and even pulled off the kill as well. 2-0 in favor of Splice. Could this be, you know, Splice just saying, you know, we can win 4 maps?
If you'd like, yeah, if that's what you want. But Vortex definitely the one to watch so far. 4 frags for him, and now once again going to be going into the offensive side. See what the defenders have kind of opted for. It's a 3-1 split. 3 of them looking to defend on towards that B side. We saw what Nile was doing on TCM. Now it is, of course, his turn once again to keep B safe.
Interesting one here, Vortex, taking a bit slower. Let's see what Josh is doing. He gets himself in a gunfight. Does take down Nile as the HC car comes out. This is where the push onto B could be the way to go for Splice. Car goes out. The call-outs will be going out, and now we'll see if Josh... See, Josh is making this move. He must have had the call-out that it was free.
Yeah, but he is, of course, anticipating those players that did just eliminate the HCXD. He's playing this smart. He knows he has time. The Psychosis does get brought out by Vortex. It's going to draw fire and pick up frags, draw blood, in fact. As now, we are going to be seeing another man caught a glimpse, and that's all he needs to do. He's made the call. He knows exactly where one is, and that's all they need, especially now that the final frag has occurred. It does all fall to Brandt to pick this one up. He does do some damage to Vortex, but he hasn't been able to finish the job just yet as he does go retreating. 30 seconds. He's on his way through the waterfall. Let's see if he can find some TLC. No, 3-0. And that's going to be Splice, like you said, making a statement.
Yeah, Vortex, again, he took damage. He dipped away. He got in that water. You know, he's the Aquaman for me of the game.
You're a big fan of Aquaman.
The MVP, the most valued
superhero couldn't do anything, man.
Aqua player.
I don't think that's going to stick, I'm afraid.
No, I don't think it is.
I don't think so.
The MVAP.
The MVAP.
3-0 in favor of Splice. Looking very dominant in the search and destroy here, especially Vortex, 5-0. However, does anyone want to change things here? This Shane currently at 0-3. Looks like they're going for an A push here.
I was about to say, yeah, what's Shane going to be saying now? What call do you make when you've just had 3 failed rounds? It's going to be, let's do something different, especially on our attack. You know, we get to dictate the pace of this round. It looks like they, oh my God, that's a fast plant. This is gorgeous stuff from TCM. This is a round they cannot stand to lose.
Yeah, Shane watching that plant. Vortex actually going to make the kill again. Such an important play. Doesn't let the bomb go down. Zerg answering back, and Hawkeye making a play. 1 versus 3. Can Zerg do it?
Where was the cover? Staircase is going to be his primary focus at this point as he is getting played with. It's going to be Bance, who should be dead at this point. Pulls out the RK5, doesn't connect the bullets. Vortex again and again. Top of the scoreboard now as he's going to be sitting on 17 0. He is yet to die, and he's been picking up the plants.
More importantly, 1,100 points. What score streaks does he have in his back pocket? You know, potentially this guy, I'm thinking, he could have a Cerberus, he could have anything, but what has he opted to choose? We're going to see, though. 4-0, it's looking dominant. It's looking like the Vortex show. Oh, the lightning and the dart, you know, very, very versatile ones, especially on this one. I think it's important, the dart, because both of the bomb sites are inside. So the dart, you can just go in there if you're a pilot. Maybe Vortex is a pilot.
Can you imagine if you get the bomb down and then just kind of fire a dart in and just start popping little rounds in towards the diffuser?
Just going really slow, like your paper aeroplane, throwing him in.
I like that idea.
A few cheeky bombs. Vortex has been taken down, though. Josh answers back, 3v3.
Does have his overdrive available now, and I mean, Splice, they're kind of in a cushy position at this point. They don't need to be taking risks with their specialists, saving it for a rainy day for this point. But level playing field in terms of players, but you have to remember that Vortex is the first one to go down, so TCM actually kind of can take a deep breath, as can I, as we slow this down and realize that he's on the flank. Bance come around behind, and they have absolutely no idea. Shane's going to be kicking himself as, again, he is in the ground. 6 feet under, 0 to 5. Zerg on the way around as well. Bance finds him as well, just completely anticipating, reading into this place so beautifully. Finally, Niall's going to try and respond. Oh, they lined up. Not enough, and Hawkeye makes it 5.
Yeah, and it's a masterclass. As I say, search and destroy is the way to do it. These are very, very practiced, and maybe this is just the map that they prefer. We saw a bit closer in the last search and destroy. Well, TCM, you know, they're just being shown how to do it, and this, 5-0. I see overdrive coming in. I see that lightning. I see the dart. I see it all. I see.
This is going to be
big.
It rhymes with hit show. It is going to be a bit of a tough one, as this is going to be. Oh, here we go. Overdrive is pressed. The lightning strike will be coming in any second now as well. Once that timer does elapse, he's straight into middle. Vortex is on his way. We're still with his score streaks available. Josh going on the offensive, and I love that he could very well get around. No one's watching the back if he goes for this. Oh, and he is the sneaky, sneaky ninja. Josh is about to go on a slaying spree if he checks just around the corner. And he is. The backs are turned, and the bodies are going to start dropping. That's one. Zerg now down. He's expecting a second, but Hawkeye's done the work for him. As now you have to turn to the one man left. It is going to be Brand. Is he their man? As he does try and pick up one with a VMP, the range isn't ideal, and Vortex makes it 6-0. Ladies and gentlemen, Splice pick up the win, and in true telling fashion in that Search and Destroy final game. It went all the way, but that final map was only one team's.
It literally was. There's not much more to say about it. We saw that last map. We didn't see the dart. We didn't see the lightning strike. I think Hawkeye jumped in with his heat wave and finished things off. But 6-0, it was so dominant by Splice, but for me, I mean, looking at the scoreboard, really, really have to point out Shane not having the best of games, 0 and 6, didn't pick up a point, not even an assist.
And that was the same thing we said in Uplink. Let's not forget, that's twice now.
And this is the player that they've opted to pick up. You know, one thing that you kind of asked me was, you know, there were other players available. I mean, I was going to say without naming names, but naming names, you've got the likes of, you know, Watson. You know, he's available.
A free agent.
Yeah, free agent. You've got other ones. You've got Dominate, just released from Splice. You know, there's a lot of options. And, of course, you know, team changes may come in at any time. But we see game number 5. Wow. I mean, Splice taking it.
Yeah, it did quite literally just go all the way. I mean, I love that. I love that we went to the full 5 maps. But I did, however, we were counting on this kind of 5-5 overtime, camo, all this stuff. No,
complete
none of
opposite.
That. Splice were having absolutely no interest in that, and despite, of course, kind of accepting that forfeit, they've managed to prove that they are indeed a search and destroy team, picking up that first win and the second win, technically, with, of course, the frags and the rounds. So that one comes to a close, and the second team to pick up that first 1-0 over on the standings is going to be Splice. They picked that one up, as did Infused, and now those are the two teams technically at the top of the table, as we are just 2 games in to our first day. You having a good time, mate? First day of the COD World League?
A really good day. I mean, we're only 2 games in. We've got 3 games coming up. Obviously, next, the French versus the UK. I mean, this XL team as well, these guys at home may not know about. We will run through, obviously, all of that when it comes to it. But 2 games, we've seen Infused dominating over the Spanish and TCM falling short to Splice in a nail-biter.
Yeah, it was a nail-biter. Let's just forget that Search and Destroy happened. It was a close game, everything else being said and seen. But, I mean, that wraps up Game 2 in this 5-series extravaganza. Let us know, of course, on social media what you're expecting. Which series are you most excited to? You know, are you kind of looking towards the end of the day? Have you got Millennium in mind, that Millennium Vitality game? Or perhaps Pulse Excel? Is that catching your eye? Let us know with the hashtag CWLPS4 and throw that at COD World League. Nice and easy, guys. And while you're doing that, we're going to take a quick break. When we're back, though, we bring you your 3rd game, Pulse versus Excel. Don't go anywhere.